This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Yes, let's do this thing on a Saturday morning, the 16th day of November, the year 2024. Who let the dogs out? Hey, you got to have dogs. I've been told from all kinds of coaches and teams and players out there. They tell me you got to have dogs. And Ed Young has a dog. I don't know about plural, but he's got a dog.
He's excited for the Bulldogs today. He's got Georgia.
Oh, okay. What about the underdogs? Does he like the underdogs?
He likes the cartoon, The Underdog. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Hasn't been on in a while, but he sees it once in a while. He likes it.
There's no need to fear. Underdog is here. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep.
Really
and,
good.
Of course, the dog that has that little sniggly laugh. What was him? What was that one?
Oh, the one that went
yeah.
like that. Yeah. Muttley.
Yeah.
Oh, Muttley. Good old Muttley.
Muttley. I'll be doing some stuff.
Not Droopy, though. We aren't a Droopy fan? Not a fan of Droopy?
No, he's all for the dogs. He's all for the dogs.
All the dogs. We got the dogs in the house. We've got a lot to go with you on this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. It is on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We're also streaming on IG at Hatfield Sports 2K4, Twitter, or X as they call it, at Hatfield Sports. We're on Facebook. We're on VirginiaPreps.com. We're all over the place. LinkedIn, too. Apple, Spotify. Thank you for tuning in. Tell your friends, your neighbors' friends, your friends' neighbors, and the dogs, all the dogs, your neighbors' dogs, friends' dogs. We are number 2 in the podcast community for the dogs. We're just behind Mike Francesa's podcast for the dogs. Ed, we've got a ton of playoff action to go over. We got a couple special guests too. Twine will be joining us momentarily. He of the Deep Creek Hornets, who were one of about 8 or 9 teams. I thought it was at least 6, but 6, 7, and 8 seeds that prevailed on Friday night in Virginia high school football playoff action. And I want to get your reaction to the big news. I know you'll have a lot of time to go over it about the Hayfield Hawks, who have now been reinstated to the postseason picture. I empty the bucket a little bit on Friday night as you shake your head and roll the eyes. Hey, they went to court and the judge said, you're back. And now the Virginia High School League has changed its playoff format. Think about it if you were Robinson or Thomas Edison or South County. You're one of those teams on a bus getting ready to go to a playoff game on the road. How about Robinson? You're going to a playoff game, and then you get to call you're out now. You've been bumped from 8 to 9. See you later, alligator. I don't laugh at all. I don't think it's funny for those kids, but my goodness, they've now moved the playoff brackets back to, it'll be coming up on Thursday for the Occoquan Region 6C quarterfinal action. The semifinals will take place that following Tuesday, and then you have Region Championship on Saturday, a day after most people play on the Friday after Thanksgiving. So there will be, for the teams that get to the region final, 3 games in a span of 9 days. Your quick reaction before you bring in Twine here in a bit, because his team got a big win on Friday night. We want to celebrate the teams that won as well, but go ahead. And you have some controversial, colorful comments and remarks as you squint your nose and do all the different things like you're making a baseball signal out there, steal, bunt, sacrifice, whatever you're doing.
Okay, the whole thing it's ridiculous. All right, now, I'll preface my comment by saying I'm not close to the situation. I get a lot of my information based on you because you got your nose to the ground. You're hearing what's going on. We all know Hayfield has illegal players. So make sure that statement is heard.
Well, hold on. Can I stop you for a quick second? If they have illegal players, which the Virginia High School League, from its report, the subcommittee and all that, which if that's what you're saying, if that's the allegation you're making, and it was, then how come those illegal players are eligible to play? So that would be my only pushback to you, because they have 31 transfers, but there were players that had to sit out a little bit until they were cleared from an eligibility standpoint. But if they have illegal players, which is what you just said, not Matt Hatfield, so all you Hayfield people come at Ed Young. I didn't say that. He did. Be careful what you say, because they might sue you, by the way, for you saying that. The parents going to come after you instead of lawsuit after you.
They ain't going to get much if they sue me.
Well, that's right. You ain't got much to sue from. So there you go. You ain't getting $9.3 million from Ed Young. Maybe his basketball hoop. Go ahead.
Let's back it up so we don't give it more than it deserves. Why did the Virginia High School League boot him out for 2 years from playoffs?
Well, go ahead and read the report. Now, you listen, I will say this, and I'm not coming at the Virginia High School League for this, but I will say this. If you read through the report, was there concrete evidence to the point where the judge couldn't then make this ruling? Now, I'm not saying the judge was right to make this ruling or wrong, but was there concrete evidence? Because you would feel like if there was concrete evidence or proof, the judge wouldn't have all of a sudden said, There you go. I'm throwing it out there. I'm playing devil's advocate, if you will.
Well, you could do that because we have to have two different stories here to light the fire. First of all, when you go to court and the judge looks at, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but obviously they're looking at a situation where the parents are the ones that took them to court. And I understand the parents of the kids who've already been there, who've been busting tail forever, and you say, well, you're out of the playoffs this year and next. Those kids are like, what do we do wrong? And we can go in circles in this. If I said there's illegal players there, until you prove me wrong, I'll stand by that decision. And if you prove me wrong, then I shut my mouth and I say, I let air out of my mouth and I shouldn't.
Well, hold on. If they're illegal players, how come they're playing is what I'm asking.
Well, that's my point. There's craziness on both sides of this. Because if the Virginia High School League does not have clear evidence that they have illegal players, carry on.
That's all I said. That's all I said to you. That's all I said.
But they had to have something to say you're out of the playoffs. So there it is. Now, parents go to court. And I hate it when courts deal with breaking of laws. Okay, you play the illegal kid, you're not breaking a law, you're breaking a rule under the Virginia High School League governance. That's what you're breaking. You're not breaking something you're going to go spend two years in jail. Right. All right. So when the courts get involved, what they should be simply saying is you go to the governing body. The governing body is VHSL. VHSL, tell us why you're kicking them out. What happened? And if they give them concrete evidence of they broke a rule, here is what we do when you break that rule. See, that's the key. If you don't have something concrete as what to do when this rule is broken, a judge is going to say, so you arbitrarily can give them any kind of punishment. So then he's going to say, no, reinstate them. I understand that part. But if you say, Your Honor, they have illegal players, here's the information we have, here's the result of that, you are banned, and we're going to ban them. Then the judge should say, go about it. Courts have too many other things to worry about and do than worry about, did this kid play illegal from this place to this place? Come on now. Why did Hayfield hire the coach to begin with? He was tremendous at freedom. And I'm not throwing bullets at the coach. He's a tremendous coach. He wins. But I've said this on this show, on the radio show for years. Let me recruit players. I'm going to win a whole lot of games. I can't hear you because your sound's muffled.
No, we're good. I was muted. It wasn't muffled. I'll jump in now as I was talking. Apologize about that. Now it does with what you just said. It opens up Pandora's box. If somebody's got the ability to try to go to the court with players that they may have ruled ineligible, it's a lot of. We will revisit this discussion because right now we have a special guest joining us here on the program. His team victorious on Friday night, 21-20. A lot of players stepped up for him. Breon Cuffey, Mike Jones, the Hornets with the great defense getting it done over the Cox Falcons. We say, hello, look at him. He's all dressed up, suit and tie. Not for us, though. Andre Twine. And I got to eat my crow, Coach. I said it on the live this week. I didn't believe you could pull this off, and you almost shot Green Run last year, and you warned us in the summertime. Ed was with you, Southeastern District. You get prepared playing Indian River, Nansman River, Oscar Smith, Kings Fork. But make sure you hammer him and me because he didn't pick you to win either. As we look at the predictions here from the site we put up on the VIP board on VirginiaPreps.com. Both of us had Cox. I had 20-7. He had it closer at 28-21. So we'll eat our crow and give it to us now. Go ahead.
Hold on. Okay, Andre, real quick. You're looking dapper and good. I see people are going to confuse us because they're going to say you look a little bit like Ed Young dressing up for a game.
No, they're not going to think that. Not at all. He's a lot younger and better looking than you, but go ahead.
Yeah, he's already got. Matter of fact, Dre, I'm going to use your name later on tonight. Okay, I did pick you at first. He made me change my pick.
I did not. That's a lie.
So I did put it down, though. I have to eat crow with that too.
You know what that's called, Coach Twine, as he gives us the look there. That's a good meme right there, the little look. We'll have to capture that and put that on social media. But that's what it's called. Ed Young doesn't want to fall too far behind, and he changes picks because he knows he's down 6-7 games.
And here's the other thing, Dre, like another coach in the area said, if I got to rely on you two yo-yos to win games, I'm in trouble. So I'm sure you see it anyway.
True. But congrats. Good win. How's it feel this morning?
Feels great. We advancing to the next round, surviving advance. That's the thing in the game in the playoffs. So we just played a I'm gonna go ahead and say the SED, we put a brand schedule that's just tough that prepares for the playoffs. So I mean, Cox had a great team being 9-1, but what we saw from them on film and what we could do, we feel like it was a great matchup for us. And it's about matchups in the playoffs also. So we came out there and played our best brand of football, being physical and running the ball well, stopping there, and they had 34 yards of rushing last night, which, that was probably the least they had all season. So we were pretty adamant on stopping the run, and the guys played hard and physical all night. And we made some mistakes in the end in some parts, but they still capitalized at the end. We got to win.
Yeah, you bring up the great point, Coach. Just 34 yards rushing for a Cox team that offensively had been humming all year long, 34 points per game coming in. They had that triple option attack, but I'm sure it was a really gritty week of practice getting ready for that. Tell me, though, what's going through your mind. You have a 21-7 lead. They score to make it 21-14. They drive down and get the touchdown to make it 21-20. I flash back to a few years ago. You remember it. When you had a youngster who was a freshman at the time, now playing middle school in the SED, running back, linebacker made a big play for you, 2-point conversion. I think Church it was with Brandon Hillman, who's now at Michigan, went for 2. Cox decides to go for 2. Did you anticipate that? And give me kind of how it unfolded. Was there any timeouts called by you or them after the TD? Take me through it.
It was no timeout call. What happened? They scored a touchdown off a pop pass. We prepared for that play. They just made a play at the end, and on the sideline, we'll do is the kicking to come out. So hold it 2. Wait a minute. So it again flashback to the Churchill game. Like, oh my gracious, they come back in with this again. So they put 22 back in the game. He didn't put a lot of offense on last night, and they ran a little counter play, and we stopped them in the end. And that was like a big. It's like deja vu all over again. The main thing was getting them onside kicks back late in the game. The kid Austin Williams, who's been a program player the whole time, that was the biggest play of the game, sealing the game in the onside kick.
Yeah, it really was for you because they get the ball back there. You never know they could get in field goal range potentially because it was, about 44, 45 seconds, something like that left in the game?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. So you pull it out there, 21-20, Deep Creek advancing in the postseason yet again. Last year gave Green Run a scare. They are no newbies to doing this in the playoffs under Coach Andre Twine, our guest here from the Deep Creek Hornets on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Take me through some other unsung heroes. You mentioned Austin. I know Breon Cuffey, Mike Jones, watching some of the highlights last night, looking at the numbers. Those two were instrumental for you as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jones is just a junior, right?
Yes, Mike Jones, man. He's our go-to guy that can do. I call him jack of all trades. Plays corner, can play safety, can play receiver, play running back, put him in wildcat quarterback at time. The kid is a heck of a ball player, and he's made a lot of plays down these few stretches in the games that we got. And one coach was like, we got to put the ball in his hand. Got to put the ball in his hands. This our O-line, our D-line, Trayvon Litton, Ricardo Foreman, Ethan Patrick, them guys who were pretty much young babies last year against Green Run, got experience now. Like, okay, we've been here, guys. Let's lean on these guys. Antonio Mills, linebackers with Vernon Whitehurst, Troy Philpott, Xavier Munn. They played well and defend their option just because we know what they had to go with down in these plays. We know triple option is hard to defend, but I got to commend Coach Howard on that, man. We played Cox before, so it wasn't anything that we never seen before and we could defend. I feel like we had a very great plan going into it. And I'll say we had the blueprint in stopping the triple option. That's just my personal opinion on that. Coach Howard has a great plan doing that, and we executed well with that.
Go ahead, Ed.
No, my thing, Dre, would be Cox has been – the thing about them all year is they're a power team. They're going to eat up yards. They're going to not make a lot of mistakes. Right. Coming into this, talking with Matt, I was debating on whether or not – I thought you guys more, quote, athletic, quicker. I thought maybe the battle would be the offensive line against the defensive line, obviously both ways. And Cox is known, again, it's an iron wall up there. Obviously, without being there, I got to believe you won those battles on both sides. Let's talk about your line play last night.
Oh, that's what the game is won on the O-line and D-line. And we got some key drives and we changed our time of possession. That was our main thing on offense. If you remember last year against Green Run, it was the same thing. We got a score, then got an onside kick. We held the ball the whole first quarter. They didn't get touch the ball to the second quarter. So they were down 14 at that point. We knew they were a ball control team too. So them playing from behind puts them in a position where they're not comfortable with. And so we felt like if we get them in that behind, we can be in a great spot of winning the game and putting our guys in the best position possible with that. So we just wanted to control the football, put our guys in space, isolated guys one-on-one. We're going to make it a street game now. Your guy on my guy, see what you're going to do, man. And we did well with that, executing that.
Yeah, and a big matchup coming up next for you, Coach, as you take on the Salem Sun Devils, who escaped against Bayside 14-7. They dodged a little bit of an upset bid. They have a pretty prolific offense. How much studying have you done on them here? I know it's been less than 24 hours after your game was ended, but another Beach District opponent. And sometimes your kids can gain some confidence from the fact that, all right, you pulled this win out, but also you beat a Cox team that had beaten them just a couple weeks ago. So there's got to be a familiarity factor of, all right, we took down a team that's already beaten them, so we can play with these guys, correct?
Oh, man, I seen them play when Cox played Salem, and Salem has tremendous athletes out there, man. They the quarterback and that receiver they have, number 7, I believe, man, he can go get the football. So they have some good talented players. The kid, Willie Moore, because we played against him before, he used to be at Grassfield, so he's familiar. We've seen him before also. They have a very formidable offense. Defense flies to the football. But we feel like at this point in the game, we can match up with them too. I mean, everything we have done all year and the teams we put with Kingsford, there's Nasman Rivers, the Oscar Smith, the Indian Rivers, prepares for that. So it's nothing we've never seen before. We just got to go out and execute, do the small things right, and we can put us in position to win the game. Before I let Ed jump back in here with you, Coach, one thing I would wonder about is where do you think, be it offensively, defensively, special teams-wise, or even just a position unit, you've improved from the most at the start of the year to now? Because I saw you guys back in September against Indian River. They were clicking on all cylinders. It seemed like you guys had glimpses of what you could do, but you weren't fully there yet, had a couple guys dinged up. Where do you think you've improved the most as a football team from back in September when it was warmer to now where it's getting cold? We do that with our O-line and D-line. Of course, we can lean on them in regards to getting that run attack going. Again, with Mike Jones emerging as one of our go-to guys on offense, and Breon Covey playing very well, not turning the ball over, he's very versatile with the football. I just think overall as a team, we're playing better. It just had to take some time. We had a lot of first-year varsity players, starters, so we knew that we may take some hits, but we're going to be in games to win. And so when we start establishing that, the kids start gaining more confidence and say, hey, if you just execute what we're doing in practice, y'all, we put the position to win a game. And so as a whole, I think we got better with that, and it puts us in a position where we won the game against Cox. So it was a combination of all those things. Hornets now one win away from playing for the region championship in 5A, Ed.
Yeah, Andre, you get to the playoff time of the year. It's been, a long season. You guys are winning. Those teams that are around 500, maybe a little under 500, get to the playoffs. Sometimes you want to know about the mentality of their kids in terms of, do they really want to move on, or they just figure they're not going to beat this team, they're 8-2, whatever. Mentality of your kids going in. I know a lot of that is led by you, your staff, in terms of how you're pushing them, how you change practice a little bit, keep them fresh. But talk about mentality of your kids going in.
Oh, man, we have what we call a dog mentality, that we going to fight, scratch, and claw to no time on the clock and what we do. One thing I tell my kids, guys, hey, I know we get on you as coaches, but we want you to be the encouragement to each other. Because I know at times we were ex-players too, like, man, coach is just killing me, getting on me. So as a player, keep each other encouraged. That's the one thing I try to stress to my guys. Let us coach you up, but y'all stay encouraged. Stay together. You mess up, hey, you got next play. Let's keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. And I saw a lot of that in the Cox game. We never got flustered. Even when they scored late in the game, we never got flustered with that. And that was showing maturity with our guys in regards to what we did with that. So just being intense and how we practice, and even though I don't have a lot of guys that you can see, we just play hard. Most of my guys play offense, defense, and special teams. I don't see a lot of teams do that in the area. So that tells you right there our mentality itself. We just play football till there's no time on the clock. And my guys give everything they had every week, and that's how we are. So that's been our MO since the summertime and how we establish ourselves. And we're going to keep on playing through that.
Well, and I also think, too, and you already hit on, I won't divulge too much more into it. Southeastern District, you're going to be tested pretty much almost, I'm going to guess, every way you could be tested on a football field based on what they do, what they play. Now, a lot of districts can say the same thing, but I got to believe in the Southeastern District, especially when you get through those top 4 or 5 teams, it's hell every Friday night.
Oh, it is. I mean, look at the playoff situation now. Smith won. They beat Grassfield. Well, they say I don't even count their loss. I mean, Western Branch lost last night, but they beat us in regular season. Mm-hmm. So you got Nazem winning, Kingsford winning, and the River winning, and Nazem and Kingsford, they got to play each other in the semifinal. So it's almost like cannibalism again. Like we really just destroy each other. And the fact that let's come out healthy come playoff time if you make it there. So anytime we get a point where we can play another, that's why I love playing our district. Our district is just the best in this. I'll say the best in the state. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, just because of the adamant of competition every single week. But don't count out Hickory and Grassfield and Lakeland. They're gonna play you tough because Hickory was one ninth seed. They could have got in, and then Lakeland on the cusp of getting the playoffs too. And Great Bridge with that offense they got, I mean, they finished 11th. So our district is just loaded. You can't come in every night. You can get beat because we play Hickory. We won 14-13. They dropped the extra point. And then in the Grassfield, they dropped a touchdown. So it's just, hey, this just will give you gray hairs because the great coaching and the great athletes in this district. It will give you gray hairs every single night.
Well, that's why Ed's got some sticking out, although he's gotten rid of most of them there. He's tried to hide it for the show. He dies a little bit too. But what you were saying is a great point, Coach. I was just about to ask you. You've had, I think, 3 games decided by 8 points or less. It was the Western Branch, the Hickory, the Grassfield game. So even though those aren't the powers of the SED, you just talked about it, like the SEC right now, cannibalism in college football. You got all these teams that might have 2 losses, 3 losses, vying for that spot in the college football playoff and the SEC championship. But those close games, nothing against Cox, they hadn't been in as many close games. They had one to end the season with Kempsville, but a lot of their games were blowouts, lopsided. So that helped you. One more thing on the game, and I'll let Ed finish up with you here, and we appreciate you coming on here. I know you got busy time here on this Saturday. What if it was flipped for a second, and you're down 2, and you get the touchdown? Would you have gone for 2 in that spot?
I'm going for 2.
You are going for 2. Okay.
I'm going for it. No question asked, because the momentum of the game and how we didn't, I mean, honestly, we were driving them a whole lot. They really didn't stop us offensively. So it's like, if I got a chance to go for the game now to win it, I got the momentum, I'm going to try it. I'm a riverboat gambler. I would kick onside. I did an onside kick and got the ball back after we scored. And then at halftime, we got another onside kick, and they just called a flag. So I don't mind rolling the dice when it's all said and done, because I get a sense of the game and the momentum. So if I'm in that position right now against Cox, I'm going for 2 too. I'm at home, the momentum's hot. I gotta go for it. Put the ball in my best player hand. Let's go play football. See how we do.
See, we don't let Ed roll the dice, because the last time he did that at the casino down in Portsmouth, bad things happened. So we don't let him roll the dice.
I hate giving up that money. I hate buying machines for them people. Dre, one question I want to give you for my last one. Give us a sense of inside coaching. You're okay. You win a big one. Now it's okay. We got Salem, and of course that's a new challenge. So how do you practice? What will you do this week going right up to game day? Kind of give us a inside the huddle idea how your practice will be situated going up into Salem.
Okay, so the main thing, again, with us being not with a lot of guys, we got to make sure our guys get a lot of rest. So watch film and do some light run-throughs and just get going in regards to what we want to do. The thing about is we got to correct what we messed up on tape, because a lot of times, let's just be honest, if you mess up on a play and that opposing team sees you messed up on it, they're going to try. So we got to correct us first. Before we even look at Salem, correct us first. And then we go to Salem. Because if we don't correct the small that we did in the previous game, that team is going to run it again on us in some form or fashion. So we got to correct us first. Then we go over Salem. That's been our whole pet peeve all season, because a lot of times if you throw a play in the game, let's say you get beat on a smash route, that team will run it again because they saw you got beat on tape before. And if you haven't stopped it, they'll keep on doing it. So we always focus on correcting ourselves first, do a self-check, and then we go against Salem. And that's how we do with that, any team we have.
That's a good way of breaking it down. Well, we've got coming up on the program, Jack Lowe from CoVA Sports TV chats with Mark Hall. The Salem Sun Devils after their win over Bayside 14-7. They'll be hosting Andre Twine's Deep Creek Hornets. A nice victory last night on the road in Virginia Beach, 21-20 over the Cox Falcons. They'll go back to Virginia Beach to try to make it 2 in a row and to get themselves in the regional championship. Andre Twine, thank you so much for coming on the program. All the best to you. And we'll make sure Ed does not pick you next week so that you keep the good times rolling.
Hey, man, keep it rolling, man. Playoff time, best time of the year. 7-5.
I was going to say, I should ask Andre, who does he want us to pick? Go with Deep Creek, go with Salem, or, hey, man, you all just throw your own dice. We all got our own.
Hey, just roll your own dice and let it go, man. Hey, go with your heart, man. But, you pick against us now. I'm looking at you like side now.
Well, I'm probably going to pick you, but I already know he'll probably change my picks to make me look bad.
I won't,
because that's the kind of guy he is.
No.
Hey, look though, on the Powered Online, they're getting beat 38-6. I'm like, oh no, 38-6. Like seriously,
we didn't do that. We didn't do that.
I'm glad you didn't. 38-6 though. I like, come on, man. Like seriously, like come on now.
We gave you more respect than that. And I'll be honest with you. I was wondering if this game was close, how they would react to it, and you guys pulled it out. It's a great job. Make sure, hey, as we let you go, say hello to Papa Twine for me. Love seeing him at ball games and sitting in the press box with him. He's one of the living legends in the 757. Tell Papa Twine I said hello, and we'll see him soon.
I will, man. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, man.
Take care. Good luck to you.
Twine,
thank you.
Head coach of the Deep Creek Hornets, a winner with us here. We'll take a timeout, come back with more here. We'll get some sound. We mentioned it. Mark Hall of Salem. Also, I caught up with Brandon Carr of the Indian River Braves after their win last night, coming from behind against Kempsville. You talk about a somber sideline, and it was 14-0 at the break. Things were not going well, and then Indian River exploded in the third quarter for like 34 points. Rayvon Moore, former Salem Sun Devil running back, ran wild. We got a lot of transfer running back to the area, by the way. He brought up the young man Willie Moore. He used to be at Grassfield out in Salem. He lost one to Brandon Nesbitt to Oscar Smith. I mean, my goodness, there's all kinds of running backs all over places. Different schools now, and I think Kempsville lost a back as well to Smith. Ton of running. Keep it up with the running backs right now. It's like free agency, and we'll get Ed's thought on that other free agency topic a little bit more on the Hayfield situation now and what it breaks down with Occoquan Region 6C. We'll come back, go through some of the brackets, and get your reaction to some of them. Interact with us on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're all over the web. Apple, Spotify, VirginiaPreps.com, Facebook, and IG. And don't forget, we got NFL picks at the conclusion of our show. Curt Dudley coming up at the top of the hour in the 11 o'clock hour, because Ed and I will be at Old Dominion for Monarchs and Dukes today. You were at Chartway Arena last night. So was I. I had a women's basketball game to call. Our ladies of ODU prevailed over Bowie State. Big one coming up on Thursday, coming out to Chartway for the Rams of VCU visiting the Monarchs of ODU. And you saw Mike Jones of the ODU men, not the Deep Creek player Mike Jones, but Mike Jones of the ODU men hold off the Hawks of Maryland Eastern Shore. Did you not?
Yeah, I got a chance to see my first live action of the year for Old Dominion. Set baseline side with Ed Miller, good friend Ed Miller. We had him on the show last week, just dissecting it. Maryland Eastern Shore gave them a battle. Old Dominion, it's a young team. You could tell they're trying, working hard, but you can see the nuances of transfer portal situation. And my point was, when things are getting tight, you can tell it's like, okay, we're going to run the offense, but if it's not working, you're going to have that player that can, here I go. I didn't really see that. And I think that's because they're still trying to gel. But then there are some times when you see what will look like, and I heard a couple of people in the crowd yell at selfishness, but it's just because maybe that player feels, okay, I know I can do this. I've got to help my team. And they take it where they really shouldn't. You're going 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 1-on-4, use your teammates. But they pulled it out, which is a key. First win of the year, which take it any way you can. Hopefully that'll be a springboard to commencing on there. They're not real, and they're not real bulky, powerful type guys. But again, it's a team that I'm impressed with how they're trying to work together, how they're listening to Mike and what the coaches want over there. And I give a little bit of credit to Maryland East Shore. They had a couple kids, Casey Shaw, who I thought at times was the best player on the floor. I think he ended up with almost 20-some. They're going to be all right. Old Dominion is going to be all right. So it was a close game. And I just told I would tell the Old Dominion faithful, be patient, new staff, new program, whole lot of new players. and they only have 2 seniors. So give them time.
All right, we'll come back with more here on the program. We'll go through the playoff brackets after this timeout, but we hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us, including CHKD. And, oh, by the way, the Neptune Bowl is next Saturday at the Sportsplex in Virginia Beach. You'll get the chance to see Ed Young and me if you come on out. Also, we'll be doing the game. We'll be doing the show from, I think, the parking lot at the Plex. So come on out.
I hope it don't rain.
Let's hear about the Neptune Bowl. Don't be the jinx. Well, I'm glad you didn't, like you did with the Virginia Preps Classic, proclaim and declare it's not going to rain or snow. So don't do that. Just don't even talk about the weather. Neptune Bowl, here's what it is coming up next Saturday.
Get ready for the Neptune Bowl presented by DoubleTree by Hilton on November 23rd, 2024 at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Tailgating starts at 10 a.m. Grab your passes for just $50. Gates open at 12:30 with kickoff at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are only $20 or $25 at the gate on game day. Don't miss the 3rd annual Neptune Bowl featuring a dynamic matchup between the Apprentice School Builders and the Atlantis University Atlanteans. Visit beachsportsplex.com to learn more today and secure your spot.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Yeah, there was a big action at the Fish Tank, the Batten Center on, what was that, Wednesday? Virginia Wesley and Christopher Newport, the captains of CNU, pulled that in overtime over the Marlins, Dave Macedo's team. It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. It's time now to go through the football playoff brackets, Edward, and we will do it just now. Are you ready? Are you ready to rock and roll and see how many you got right, how many I got wrong? Because that's generally your thought process to count all the W's you get and the L's that I get.
It's all about winning, baby. I ain't got time to lose.
Yeah, I know that. So let's go through it here as we put it on the screen here for you. The brackets. There it is. It is nice and zoomed in for you. Class 6 Region A, Oscar Smith, the shutout of Grassfield, 41-0. They get it done. They'll be taking on Manchester as the Lancers prevailed in its matchup over the Thomas Dale Knights. So it's Manchester knocking out Dale. They'll take on Oscar Smith. Good win for first-year head coach Jason Harrell at the helm, taking over for Tom Hall, who left for Prince George. They had a bit of a battle in their hands with William Fleming last night. We'll get to Prince George in a second. Glen Allen, a winner over Western Branch, 42-9. So Malik Sexton has the Jaguars roaring at 10-1 on the year. They'll be visiting Highland Springs, a 60-6 winner over Lansdowne. So Lauren Johnson Springers look to be back on track. Remember, they had those early season losses to both Beavis and Maury from the 757. Took a blemish late in the regular season, second to last game against their Capital District longtime rival, Verina. So what do you see there, Ed, as far as the playoffs in Region 6A? Is it going to be according to form, top seeds make it to Thanksgiving weekend, Oscar Smith hosting Highland Springs?
Well, first of all, you probably did it too. I think that's a 4-0 for me. Mm-hmm. Don't think I had any losses there. I keep looking hard at Glen Allen. Just a really solid, strong year with very little fanfare. Now, but they're playing a perennial power in Highland Springs, who, to me, and you can correct me if I'm definitely wrong, Highland Springs a little bit quicker, a little bit faster.
I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure of that.
Maybe
in past years, I'm not so sure of that. I think the question for me with Highland Springs, as you jump into it, is going to be offensively, can they generate early drives against that Smith defense, which right now is just really smothering. They all fly to the football.
No, well, you said Smith defense. I'm talking Allen and Highland Springs right now.
Oh, you're talking about Glen Allen with Highland Springs? That's, you know what? That's going to be an interesting matchup. Yeah, you go ahead with that breakdown. I missed
because Allen is, to me, is a little bit more of a power team, somewhat like Cox, but puts a little bit more points on the board. Highland Springs is just athletes all over the place, quicker, even the line quicker. So it could be a power against quickness type matchup.
That's a pretty fair description. I think they will try to be more grinded out against Highland Springs. Although, remember, they took apart Dale early in the year. They lost badly to Verona. So that's a fascinating matchup. You can't sleep on Glen Allen. You're right. You cannot sleep on
Yeah, and then the other matchup, I don't want to slight Manchester at all, but, Smith is in full steam ahead, and they're number one for a reason. But, you've got to still beat who's in front of you. You can't just live on past laurels. I don't think it'll be a blowout with Manchester. I think Smith wins. I'm more confident in Smith beating Manchester than me to sit here and pick an Allen Springs winner right now. And then I think Smith gets to that final. But I may have to do some more hard thinking before I look at Allen and Springs and pick a winner.
We got a ton of great folks watching on our Instagram feed, too, by the way. Ball and VA Podcast, 804. Our man Lee Mary says, I see you, Big Twine. Man, you sound just like your bro, Philip, which is great to see. One of your former pupils. He's now a grown man. He's always smiling. One of our favorites, Nick Wright, former ODU Monarchs, tuning in.
Big Nick.
Zon Burns tuning in. Duke football assistant. He hails from a 757 in Salem. He's always repping the Salem Sun Devils. We'll get to them later on with Mark Hall in a bit here. And by the way, also commenting and chiming in, we got all kinds of people. Lynn Burke, the living legend, former Daily Press scribe, and our historian that helps us out at Virginia Preps time to time. Ed's jinx shouldn't hold. Advanced forecast next Saturday. High of 56, mostly sunny, 2% chance of rain. All right, Lynn, if Ed can have a 2% chance, it's just like me picking a football game or a basketball game. It's over, and they're up 9 with a minute and a half to go, and it goes the other way. So, I mean, this could go the other way. It is Ed now with forecast and, jinx. I'm just cautioning you. Don't be shocked if all of a sudden it starts pouring because Ed declares it won't. So
no, Lynn's looking out for us. I'll bring an umbrella just in case, Lynn, because this nut job won't. Now we be sitting there getting wet as can be. Mm-hmm. Unless the people's in power will have something for us to be sitting in. Hey, Gino's chiming in all the way down from Carolina area. Yeah,
I'm glad Gina's tuning in. By the way, there's a young man for the Hampton Crabbers, lineman, who's been making plays this year. Big, solid kid named Gene Jones Jr. I got to know, Gene, if you're watching, any relation, any son, nephew, grits, I got to know because he's a good football player. And if he's not related to you, you can claim him because he's a darn good football player for the Crabbers. I think he's a junior, by the way, defensive lineman. And since our last interaction, he was on with the show, I saw that name and I was like, he's got to be related somehow, right? Gene Jones Jr. So let us know if there's any relation, nephew, son, cousin, distant. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's go back to some more playoff reaction. We go from 6A down to 6B, where, I'm very high on the Battlefield Bobcats. Why? Because their coach is Greg Hatfield. No relation. I promise you, we're not related. I'm not biased with Battlefield, folks.
Thank God on his part.
Oh, you're funny. You're real funny. You know that?
No, I'm just speaking for him because he's not here to speak. So
go ahead and gloat. Go ahead and gloat. You took Patriot. I took debate with Gainesville as the higher seed to get revenge. There was 2 revenge wins last night. We'll see if you can guess them later on in the show. You had Patriot 24-18. I had 27-24. Gainesville worked out for you. You copycatted me with Colonial Forge to upset Stafford, which they did. Remember, it was a 35-31 comeback for Stafford in late September. But you tried to call the upset of Woodbridge over North Stafford. Didn't happen. I had 24-18, and North Stafford ended up getting it done. By the way, D. Lacey also chiming in. I'm not sure who that is. Shout out Coach Young, Nansman alumni. So he's watching on IG as well.
Who is it again?
It's D. Lacey. For some reason, I can't click. See, I wish we could put the Instagram comments on the screen. We got to see if our CoVA Sports TV.
D. Lacey.
Yeah, we got our CoVA Sports TV crack staff with Jack, Chuck, Nick, and the gang, and Dennis. Maybe they can figure it out for us because we haven't figured out how to do it. We can get the Twitter and X comments and the YouTube comments. We haven't been able to get the IG comments on the screen. But anyhow, I go ha 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 at you because I got one on you with North Stafford over Woodbridge, but we're deadlocked there as we do the picks count here. What do you think? Is it Battlefield's region to lose? And that Colonial Forge North Stafford game could be rather enticing and exciting because last week North Stafford won it. And how about them? They were 0-10 like last year, and here they are 9-2, one of the best turnaround stories in the entire state, bar none.
So I picked Woodbridge to beat Stafford.
Oh my. You don't even keep up with what you pick. You just like randomly select them like you're at a dirt.
All right, I'll go with that. So I went 3-1. Okay, I get that. I think it's Battlefield all the way through. Patriot will give them a battle somewhat. No, they're not going to. Nobody's going to quit in these playoffs. Right. But I just think Battlefield's that good, and Colonial Forge North Stafford will be a much closer game. I may lean towards Colonial Forge in this. Maybe they're going to be the lower seed darling that can get there, but I don't think either one has a shot at knocking down Battlefield. I think.
By the way, can somebody out there with all their number crunching, is Battlefield the only team in the state, any classification, not to surrender double-digit points to anybody this year? They've given every opponent's had single digits on them, including they have 3 shutouts of Hilton, Garfield, and Osborne Park. And they beat Patriot 29-7 in the regular season finale. That was their second closest game of the year. Their closest was beating Gainesville by like 23 or 22, I should say. But I'm with you on that. Let's go down to the bracket below that because there's a lot of intrigue and spice and drama to it. The Occoquan Region 6C, which begins next Thursday, and then they play Tuesday, and then the following Saturday. Hayfield now is the one. They're in it. They got the injunction. The court ruled in their favor. Edison's the 8 seed. They dropped from the 7 line. Fairfax bumps down from 3 to 4. You think they like that? They had to see Hayfield in the second round potentially. West Potomac goes from hosting and now on the road. South County drops from the 5 seed to a 6. They have to go to West Springfield. I think they can pull the upset there, by the way. And then Lake Braddock hosts Mount Vernon. Lake Braddock was my pick to win the region, probably yours as well. Now we know it's the Hawks because they have too much firepower with Isaiah French, Jeff Overton Jr., Vincent Ordenis, and that whole crew. Yeah,
it's a battle to who's going to try to play them in the finals. It makes now you don't know what it does to the kids' mindsets that things have changed. And of course, was it Robinson went from in the playoffs to on the bus to go put your stuff away. It's time for spring sports. They're not going anywhere.
Well, there's going to be a hearing, by the way. They're going to discuss this matter further in the courts on December 4th. And if you're wondering what that timeline means, well, the state championships are December the 14th. December 7th is the state semis. Can you imagine if somehow the courts were to not let them play in a state semifinal? What would they do then? Would they give the team that they're supposed to play a bye? Would they take the team that lost to Hayfield? Like I said, stay tuned. This whole saga is not done, and everybody says they know how it's going to play out. They have no idea. Players, coaches, fans, administrators, unless you're a judge who's ruling on this, you have no idea how this is going to turn out. Crazy.
Yeah, I don't even want to spend time on it.
Hey, Watford, our man, says it's 2 kinds of crazy, right?
It's 2 kinds of foolishness all the way around.
By the way, DeAndre Lacey, class of 2016 is who that is. You remember DeAndre? All right. Was he in your class?
I think he was.
Yeah, he'll tell us he was. Class 6 Region D, Madison Warhawks. They have a great defense too, by the way. Smothering. They shut out Chantilly. Westfield beats Herndon. They'll get a rematch with Madison, which they played to a 1-score game during the season. Watch out for that. Langley, George Marshall. Ed, I don't know why. I took the bait of George Marshall. They beat him during the season at 28-21. You said Langley 26-21 upset alert. There was no upset alert there. Washington Liberty, we both had easy. They both prevailed. I should say they easily prevailed.
So I did another 4-0.
Are they the quietest 11-0 team in the state? You don't hear a peep about Washington Liberty. And Madison West would be a heck of a game.
Yeah, we really haven't given much to them. I'd like, just because they're both undefeated, I'd like to see them get all the way to the finals. But I got a feeling if they do, it'll be Madison. I think it's Madison's region to have. Though Westfield won't be a pushover. I don't think it'll be a pushover for them. They got weapons. And when you're undefeated this late, as a coach, I worry because you haven't really had a letdown. Unless you had a bad game and were still able to win it somewhere, which they probably did. But now you start to get a little nervous because now if you lose, you're out. I'd rather lose in a regular season because we can fix it and move on. But now it's like the more you keep winning and staying undefeated, the more the kids' heads get a little big. They may not work as hard. They'll think the next team's a pushover if they haven't really seen them. So it's probably important for when you look at film, you get that last film where your opponent looked really good, not somewhere they looked horrible, so that the mindset of the kid stays positive. But Langley, Washington Liberty, like I said, I'm going to go Washington Liberty, but Langley got athletes too, so it's going to be interesting here. But I'm hoping both undefeateds get there.
Yeah, Dominic Nicely is really good for Madison. He just decommitted not too long ago from Coastal Carolina, and they put up a boatload of yards, 400, I think it was, against Chantilly in the first round of the playoffs. Their defense has given up just 13 points the last 4 games. They've been to the state semis, I think now the last 4 seasons coming into this one under Coach Justin Counts. We'll come back with the Class 5 brackets, but it's now time to take a listen to and watch the interview that our man Jack Lowe did with Mark Hall of the Salem Sun Devils. They were victorious on Friday night as they were able to take down the Bayside Marlins 14-7. Tough, hard-fought battle. Willie Moore had a big day running the football for Salem. He's the area's leading rusher in Hampton Roads, 27 attempts for 134 yards, and the go-ahead touchdown in that fourth period that enabled Salem to get it done and advance to the region semis where they'll take on Deep Creek and Andre Twine, we just spoke with. We also got Brandon Carr coming up in a little bit, the head coach of Indian River, whose team was able to rally from a double-digit halftime deficit and beat the Kempsville Chiefs last night at James L. Fry Stadium in Chesapeake. So it sets up a Final Four in Region 5A of Indian River at Green Run, Salem, playing host to Deep Creek. Region 5B, by the way, which is what Region 5A sees in the state semis, has got Maury hosting Warwick at Powhatan Field. You'll see this all visually here in a little bit. And you have Kings Fork hosting Nansemond River, which was a whale of a game back in September that Kings Fork won 32-27. Remember, Nansemond River got to the 1-yard line and fell short. And for Alonzo Ricks' sake, he was my guest on the Hash with Hatfield this week. I'm glad he didn't fall victim to the jinx. Had he come on with you and me, he might have not beaten Bethel last night. But enough babble. Let's hear from Mark Hall of Salem after their win because the interview's ready after I was buying some time. Here's what he told Jack Lowe.
We're here with Coach Mark Hall, coach of the Salem Sun Devils after the 14-7 victory over the Bayside Marlins. Coach Willie Moore, he had the 2 touchdowns, had one of the best players on this field. How important has he been to this football team this year?
I mean, it's great, man. He runs behind a great line, man. He carried us, man, this game, this whole season, man. And, grateful to have Willie on our team, man. He's just a great leader, like I was just telling him, man. He's just playing really, really hard this season, man, and he never gives up. So.
Absolutely. Defense was outstanding tonight. The only touchdown that was given up, arguably, with all the penalties and stuff, would have been a little questionable. How great was the defense tonight, and what went into stopping Bayside so well?
Preparation, watching film, and, we knew we had to come out here, and we knew Bayside was going to give us everything they had. It didn't matter from the first time we played them. We know playoff football is different. Everybody comes ready to play, so we just had to know we knew we had to stop them and be prepared for anything.
Yeah, whether all of them was right or not, there's a lot of penalties tonight. Is that something? How do you clean that up in practice coming up before next Friday?
Just watch film, look at what we could have did better. Just clean up the bad stuff we did offensively and just make sure it's corrected, and look forward to playing Deep Creek and just making sure we do things better that we had mistakes with.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I don't know if you heard the PA guy. Deep Creek upsets Cox. Cox went for 2 to try and win the game. They didn't get it.
Wow.
So now you guys get Deep Creek right here next week. Early thoughts, obviously you got to watch the film and stuff, but early thoughts on Deep Creek with the upset.
I really haven't seen Deep Creek play, but I know they're. I think they're. I heard they're a run-heavy team. They got a big quarterback. I've heard, and they run pretty. They run the ball really well. So I'm looking forward to watching film on them. And like I said, man, this is playoff football. So we got to be able to play it, man. They got to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to stop it. So
absolutely. Final question. I've been asked this before. When you guys are tied, or even when you have the lead there, and your defense comes out onto the field, what is your biggest message to your players, to your defense? Hey, let's not have any crazy mistakes. Let's just limit them here and finish the ball game.
Just knowing that we've been here before, man. At halftime, it was 7-7. My mentality was let them know it was 0-0. We've been in overtime games before. We've been down before. So my guys had a mentality, not getting down on themselves. So we just had to, be ready to play and just let them know that we could get through this.
So there you have it. That was Mark Hall. His team a winner over Bayside 14-7 in the Region 5A quarterfinals at 757 Saturday Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're all over the web, and we always appreciate the interaction with all of you out there, our loyal viewers, listeners, and followers. Ed, Mark Hall breathing a sigh of relief for two reasons. One, Bayside had the ball driving in a tie game. They fumbled around midfield with about 5-6 minutes to go. Willie Moore puts it down for him, a touchdown to give him the lead, and then the defense cleans up and doesn't let Bayside get to beyond midfield in the final possession there. I think they forced a turnover as well on a fumble late. So their defense came up, which was much maligned a few weeks back. And how about they don't have to see Cox now, who they gave up a season-high 49 points to late in the regular season. So now they get Deep Creek, who is not as known for, we just had Andre Twine on, being an explosive, aired-out offense. So you think he likes the matchup better now? I mean, Deep Creek could bite him if he does, but he probably likes the matchup better, does he not?
Yeah, but he's going to know that they're playing, a team that's coming off a playoff win also. They already know they beat a team that gave them, obviously, issues in Cox. So it's two different preparations. And, of course, they got the whole week to get ready for Deep Creek. But they're there. And, of course, towards the end of the year, Salem was really putting points on the board. And I imagine that I don't see them putting a ton of points on the board against Deep Creek. I think it'll be a little bit more of a low-scoring game, close game.
Is it a concerning sign with all those weapons they have? Kassir Patterson, Willie Moore, Jason Scooter Williams, Fabian Wells. Is it a concern that they had their lowest output offensively in the playoff game, which, remember, Green Run had that in the playoffs, and they didn't really get the offense back. It's mojo. Or do you just give more credit to Bayside's defense keeping that game close and competitive? John White knows them. They beat them last year. They got shut out pretty big this year in the regular season. What's your feel of that?
Yeah, my gut feeling would be there that John Bayside did a good job of trying to take away some of the weapons. Mm-hmm. He just had too many weapons. And in that point, Salem had to not go crazy and be throwing clipboards and things aren't working. Find out one or two things that are working and then make sure you stop them, because all you need is one more point than your opponent. If you're averaging 44, you don't need to get to 44. You need one more point than your opponent. If they're taking things away, don't lose focus. What is working? What's the one thing they're not really stopping? Hopefully, because if they're stopping everything, you're not winning. And then you just have to make sure they don't get that one more point than you.
Let's hear now from the head coach of the Indian River Braves. Brandon Carr's team will be taking on Green Run, who shut out Ocean Lakes. The Braves rallied from a 14-0 deficit, exploded in that third quarter. Here's what the head man of the reigning Region 5A champions, yeah, they won the region title last year, if you forgot, of Indian River, told us. It's CoVA Sports TV.
All right, here with Indian River head football coach Brandon Carr. His Braves prevail on a playoff night here at James L. Fry Stadium, 42-24 over Kempsville. They're moving on to the region semis against Green Run. Coach, first half you get shut out 14-0 at the break, but you guys stayed calm. Halftime, what was the adjustments in the break at the locker room as far as telling your guys to keep their heads up and go take it to them in the second half?
It was just about settling down as a group. We hit a little adversity, first play of the game. We just needed to settle down. Everybody needed to relax and just come together and stay connected to play Indian River football. That's what we did the second half.
You got a couple of quick scores. So once it went from 14-0 then to 17-14, I imagine your entire sideline felt like, hey, we've got this where we want it.
Yeah, but it was just about keeping the gas, pedal on the gas. We wanted to stay relentless. In the playoffs, 14-17 lead is not a lead.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So we stay relentless. Coaches did a good job keeping kids engaged in the game.
Yeah, we see deficits get made up all the time in college, pro, and high school football. How about Rayvon Moore tonight? What a special back he is for you. 240 yards rushing, 3 TDs. You talk about all gas, no breaks. He had it tonight.
Oh, all gas. That's that kid. I'm glad that we had a night where we were able to showcase him, and he was able to show everybody that the back he is. That's not a wild night. That's that kid, and I'm glad he got to showcase that tonight.
So all you guys early in the season after that Deep Creek game, you guys were clicking. You've had a couple of tough battles here in the Southeastern District. Some of the ups and downs, how do you think this team is kind of molded and shaped for what's ahead as you try to win another region championship this year?
We learned from the adversity. Adversity, you want to be negative, it can be positive. tonight, the things that we went through throughout the season, we turned it into a positive night. We stayed connected. We battled through the adversity, and we prevailed.
I know we spoke about it before, but one of the most impressive plays of the night, I know it won't show up in the stat sheet, but they had a big gainer, and your freshman linebacker, Andre Alexander, chased it down from one hash to the other. Just speak on what he's done and some of your youngsters that have been broken into the lineup this year as newbies on defense.
Yeah, I think, they're all a special talent. They got bright futures ahead of them, but one thing about that young group is they're all relentless. They're football players. They're going to play 48 minutes. They're not going to stop playing until the whistle blows, and that's what I love about them, and that's what's going to take them very far.
Two more before I let you run. How much was this, being a former lineman yourself, a game where those guys up front dictated the flow in the second half to kind of win this and salt it away?
You got to love the bigs up front. Everybody talks about the back, but when he's able to run the ball like that, it means the bigs up front are doing something. So I love that they went into halftime, corrected some things, got their minds right, and started just being a physical group up front. So I definitely love it.
Yeah, shout out to those guys up front, led by Corey Sandlin, one of your anchors in the trenches. Lastly, you get gridiron again, a place that you won at a year ago in the region championship, this will be in the region semifinals. What must you do in that ball game to prevail again?
Stay connected. We're gonna watch some film, and we're gonna game plan and get ready to win another one.
Braves and Stein should be a fun one in Virginia Beach. Thanks so much. All the best.
Yes, sir.
So there you have it. That was Brandon Carr of Indian River, his team a winner over Kempsville on Friday night, 42-24. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on CoVA Sports TV. Edward, Green Run, Indian River, a rematch from last year. Do the Stallions exact revenge, or do you think this is a dangerous game for the Braves? Could it be an all Chesapeake SED style of Region 5A final? It could be, or it could be all beach if Green Run Salem wins. Maybe a mixture. Give us your feeling.
First of all, I saw Brandon established that I was at last night to watch the Tyson fight.
Oh, did you?
He was there too with his, I think his staff was there. So
nice.
Came up and said hello
Okay.
to me. So, and I picked Indian River. So
there you go.
He didn't have to punch me in the face for not picking him.
It's good. Did you buy him some wings for congratulating him for the win?
Too many people at the table.
Oh, stop it. You're just a cheap son of a gun. You should have bought him some wings.
Yeah, I should have. I could have put it on Virginia Prep's bill.
I'm sure you would have told the lady to send the bill to me in the middle of the night. That's what would happen. Yeah.
But we all know Virginia Prep, so whoever runs that show, they ain't got no doggone money to begin with.
Wow.
So,
why are you hating on the site for high school sports in the state of Virginia, part of the Rivals Network powered by Yahoo Sports?
Well, sometimes you have to give credit where credit is due.
Okay.
Now, this is interesting. These matchups are interesting. Indian River is going to want to take those 42 points and bring them with them this week because they're going to need them.
Yeah, they're going to need them. You're right.
Yeah, they're going to need them. Now, Green Run is just it's that train down the tracks that get out of the way. It can't stop.
Plus, they're mad about last year. You remember what happened last year?
I gotta believe Coach William is using a little bit of that for bulletin board material. Yep. Now, with that being said, I don't think it will be a blowout for Green Run because they've been beating people bad. Ocean Lake's 35-0.
Will it be 10-7 like last year?
Well, I would like to think it will be a closer game. I really do. But Indian River will have to, whatever they did right last night, again, you're going to have to bottle that up. And you're going to tighten down the defense a little bit because Green Run's going to put points on the board. And just like I just mentioned earlier, Bayside took away some weapons that Salem does. Indian River's got to find out, okay, we can't maybe stop everything Green Run does, but they've got to figure out a couple things that they can really do a job on and then hold forth themselves on offense. It's one thing stopping somebody, but you got to score too. Name of the game is most point win. So that's going to be interesting. And, of course, we already said Deep Creek Salem. Now, Deep Creek Salem could be a 40-38 type game. I can see in my head both those teams.
I think the Green Run and River is going to be more the high-scoring game. I think that's going to be the higher. It won't be like 10-7 last year. Justin Ned, former Bethel Bruins PG for Craig Brehan and company, tuning in. Good win for Deep Creek, you're right. Unfortunately, not a great night for your Bruins, which we'll get to later in the show as they took on Nansemond River. Chuck Bright, who I think he hails from Deep Creek. You coached his son, Dontrell, who's playing pro ball overseas.
Chuck
wasn't doing the show. And Gene Jones did chime in that Gene Jones Jr. of Hampton is not related, but he could claim him. So there you go.
Be careful. Now, hold on, Gene. Be careful claiming kids because I don't want to say it on the air. but I worked some camps with Gino, baby, and it could be some other kids out there saying, Daddy.
Oh, that's awful. Hey, coming up next, we got a special guest. He's one of the best in the business, the longtime voice of JMU athletics. You hear him all the time. You see him. He does such a fantastic job. Curt Dudley, who we had on last year to break down ODU, JMU. He's going to do it again today. We'll be there at SB Ballard Stadium, but we'll hear from him after we take a quick timeout to hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us to do this with you, including Town Bank. Back in just a moment here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Get ready for the Neptune Bowl presented by DoubleTree by Hilton on November 23rd, 2024 at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Tailgating starts at 10 a.m. Grab your passes for just $50. Gates open at 12:30 with kickoff at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are only $20 or $25 at the gate on game day. Don't miss the third annual Neptune Bowl featuring a dynamic matchup between the Apprentice School Builders and the Atlantis University Atlanteans. Visit beachsportsplex.com to learn more today and secure your spot.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
Yes, the evil basketball coach accompanies me, Ed Young. Matt Hatfield here with him. We have a special guest with us, Curt Dudley, the longtime voice of James Madison University athletics. You can follow him on Twitter, or the X as they call it now, at Curt Dudley, as we say good morning to him. Always a big matchup, always one that's looked forward to, my friend, when the Dukes and the Monarchs get together on any athletic surface, and today should be a fun one in the Royal Rivalry Challenge in football. How you been?
I've been very well, thank you. How you guys been?
We're doing
Curt,
well.
good to see you, my man.
Ed's got a little more time on his hands now that he's not coaching at the moment. So he's into this JMU ODU football matchup today, and we'll break it down with you. But give me a sense. And my dad's a big JMU alum, class of 77. There's so many all across the 757, as you well know, Curt. This team really opened eyes when they had that big win over North Carolina this year in Chapel Hill. My goodness, the offense was flowing. They haven't been quite as crisp lately here on the road in some matchups. Is this a dangerous spot for JMU today? Last year was a close game, 30-27 in Harrisonburg. What's the feel of the group, and is everything still in front of them in your eyes as far as having a really successful season?
Well, I think already that, first of all, thanks for having me here this morning. I think it has been a successful season, even though there's still the 3 games to be played, including today's. When you just look at what the program underwent, the major transition from Curt Cignetti leaving right before the bowl game last year to trying to navigate that and playing Air Force in the Armed Forces Bowl, and then to have Coach Bob Chesney come in from Holy Cross and get the Dukes off to a good start, albeit it has been a little bit up and down, a roller coaster ride in terms of the offense is concerned, and you're absolutely correct. The Dukes have had some issues other than that one on the road at North Carolina, which you said opened eyes. My eyes were opened as wide as anybody's watching that one here from my home in Bridgewater. Didn't make the trip with the Dukes, nor have I made it today. But it has been successful just with all that transition. And even when you look at what's happening, this is part of the story this year. But when you even look and see what's happening in Indiana with all those former JMU players and the success that Curt Dudley has had. In fact, they just announced that he's been signed through 2032, a contract that's worth about $8 million per year, with a $1 million retainer. So, I mean, it's just really unbelievable what he's done there. But here at James Madison, being 6-2, becoming bowl eligible just 7 games into the season, a lot helped him out from that regard. And but today is a concern. You go into Old Dominion, you go into Norfolk, it will be a hostile environment. We know that, but that's what you want, actually. So it's good that Old Dominion and JMU are in the same league, because now we're getting one of those regional rivalries to be rekindled.
Absolutely, and you want to get bowl eligible if you're Old Dominion, sitting at 4-5 with some key games coming up with Marshall and on the road to Arkansas State. And Ed, how about JMU? 70 points on the board against UNC this year, against Mac Brown's Heels, and 53 before halftime, which was one of those games that had the whole college football universe buzzing that Saturday.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. It was nothing that you could predict. Just there was a confluence of things that just happened. The ball bounced right. The football is shaped kind of oddly, so sometimes you don't know which direction it's going to go. But everything that day just worked and clicked for JMU. I think the Tar Heels were caught a little flat-footed in that event, and the Dukes just continued to pour it on. Now, had they played that game another 30 minutes, North Carolina might have caught them. But there was just too much distance between JMU and UNC at that time for that to come out. So certainly it was a monumental win. It was one of those eye-openers around the country. But as we said earlier, the Dukes have had their ups and downs, and we just don't know today. Last week they came off a bye. They performed well against Georgia State, and the game against North Carolina also coming off a bye week. So you can see that the coaching staff has made some great adjustments and figured out a few things after some struggles. But here we're going into, the home stretch in that environment there in Norfolk.
Ed?
Well, Curt, when you talk about great start, a lot of points, basketball scores, and then you mentioned earlier about the ups and downs, especially on the offensive end, new coaching staff. And, of course, Cignetti goes on to Indiana, and we all know what he's doing. With the Hoosiers. It's got to be one of the big stories of the year, even though some pundits are saying, well, they're not playing the powerhouse teams of the Big Ten, fake record, all this and all that. But the bottom line is they're doing well. And obviously some of the key guys in Indiana were some of the better players at Madison. So I got to think that here comes a new coach in. He's going to put his own system in. You got to go to that portal, okay, world famous portal. And you've got to make this work quickly, because it's a quick way to get things really going. Cignetti did it in Indiana, but maybe JMU is still kind of going through some molasses with their feet on offense. What would you say is that issue with the offense at Madison?
Well, I think, first of all, if you look at the last several years and the quarterback situation at JMU, with the going back even to when Everett Withers and this great run that James Madison has had on the gridiron over the last number of years, all of those quarterbacks that they had were experienced quarterbacks. They were juniors or seniors, transfers. When you look at Vad Lee, Ben DiNucci, McLeod last year, Todd Centeo 2 seasons ago. All those guys, and that was a big question mark, what they were going to be able to do. And I think we also see that Tino Sinceri is a pretty darn good quarterback coach, because he's doing the same thing at Indiana as he left to go with Coach Cignetti. But so I think one of the things is it's some growing pains. I've always liked Alonzo Barnett III out of North Carolina. I've liked him since he stepped on campus. I thought that once he got a chance, that he would be good. And his story last year, you may recall, is that he was the starting quarterback under Cignetti going into the season. Bucknell was in town, and he just was not loose. He was kind of locked up a little bit, froze, if you would, and just did not perform well. He had like the deer in the headlight situation. And then McLeod takes over, and the Dukes just roll from there. And we know the rest of the story about last season. So this year, in fact, I was not at the Charlotte game, but I was doing a men's soccer match in Harrisonburg on ESPN Plus, and my broadcast partner and I, we were at the halftime, and I peeked over because the games were running simultaneously with JMU playing at Charlotte in football. And I looked at the early numbers, and Barnett was 1 for 6. And I looked at my partner and I said, uh-oh, this sounds very similar to last year. But you can't really look at those numbers and make a quick assessment. You have to look back and see why he was 1 for 6. But the whole point here is that you still have a very inexperienced collegiate quarterback. Now he's gaining that experience because he's going to be starting again today. And at sometimes he has looked really good, but because he is really in his first year of playing in live action on these Saturdays here in the fall, you're seeing some ups and downs with that a little bit. So I think that's one of the main issues. The offensive line has been good and intact. They've done something a little different this year, and you'll see a little bit of this today, but not as much because of injuries. Chris Smith is the offensive line coach, and you will see linemen rotate in almost like they're defensive linemen. What I mean by that is, that a good defensive line is probably going to have 7 to 8 guys deep that they're going to rotate throughout the course of the game. And typically, traditionally, you're going to see that offensive lineman, because of continuity, be the same group of 5 unless there's an injury here or there. Well, the Dukes don't do that. They will bring in other guys to rotate in. And that's paid off. The reason being is because they have a couple of guys that are hurt. And with them being out, they've got experienced players now to fit that role. So that was a little bit of, I think, some of that situation. And the other aspect is, I think that, and the coaches will tell you this, there have been situations where the coaches feel like they could have made better calls. They could have put the Dukes in better situations. And this is from the FBS level, this is a young football staff that overall too. Now, certain aspects of the game can transfer from one level to the other, no doubt. But there's a little bit of a learning curve, I think, with those guys too. And they've said themselves, well, we should have done this and we should have done that. So the continuity, and as you mentioned, Coach, you're throwing all these people together at one time. It takes a lot. It's not, you just can't throw water on it and then boom, instantaneously, this is going to work. We see it all over the country. And I think that's one of the reasons that you see a lot of parity in the country right now, is because you just don't know. You can't even look at preseason polls because you don't know what those guys are going to do. They may look good on paper, but they never played together very much.
Kurt's great point, because when you back in the old days, you recruit high school kids, you're going to redshirt almost 99% of them. So you're going to have to go with what got better from the previous year. So you got a little bit more idea of what the team's going to be. Now, when you bring in all these transfers and are immediately eligible, it could be great and it could be a disaster. If you don't know how to recruit the portal, you're in big trouble. So, and I'm not saying JMU didn't know how to recruit the portal. It's just how it's working out. Now let's flip it. Defensively, I understand JMU's tops in the country in turnover margin, which is a big statistic defensively. I happened to be at one game for Old Dominion this year live, and it was Georgia Southern. Matt was there too, and they destroyed them with a backup quarterback who I said, well, whoever the starter is, when he comes back, he better be ready, because this dude looked really good.
Not the backup anymore, Colton Joseph. He's really good now. Yep.
So now I say to you, what are we going to see? Let's look at the defensive side. The rotation of linemen is key. That's something I'd do if I was a football coach. I'd rotate linemen like crazy. Hope the consistency stays there. Wear the other team down, because that line play is key. But let's move it over a little bit to the defensive side. What are we looking at today?
Well, you will see that, and I think that's an area that's gotten better. And one fellow to really keep an eye on is one of the ends, Eric O'Neill. O'Neill is a transfer. Came in from LIU, Long Island University, which is an FCS program, starting to make a little bit of noise at that level. But he's actually a pretty good example of the transfer portal from one level to an upper division level. When he came in, I'm not quite sure he had the overall confidence that he could play at that level. But through time and through basically the trust of the coaching staff, and Sam Daniels, who's he's a 757 product, our defensive line coach at JMU, played at JMU with Arthur Moats when the two of those guys were there in the late 2009-10, that era. and you talked to Eric just last week where he had a couple of sacks against Georgia State. He's now at the point in his mental aspect of the game of feeling like he can compete at this level. So you've got that part of it too. But yeah, you're going to see a number of defensive linemen that are going to roll through the entire ball game. And the other thing that I think when you speak to that is the second level of defense are the linebackers. And now last week, Jacob Dobbs, another transfer who is the tackling leader for JMU, sat out last week for precautionary measures. We should see him back in there at one of the middle linebacker situations, and they will rotate those fellas as well. So you're seeing guys that can go full bore at any particular time, and the backups have been good too. You used Taurus Jones last week because of Dobbs being out, so he ended up becoming the play caller from a defensive standpoint. And the defense has been good. Now, you can there's always a situation where you get a one-on-one situation, it breaks down, and a guy can beat you over the top possibly, but that can happen to anybody. So I think that's an area that probably has been the most consistent week in and week out. If you had to compare and line up offensive consistency, defensive consistency, it's been on the defensive side of the ball where things have been a little bit more reliable.
A few more minutes with the one and only Curt Dudley, the longtime voice of James Madison University, our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever you're tuning in. We always appreciate the comments and feedback from you. JMU taking on Old Dominion today at SB Ballard Stadium in Norfolk, 4 o'clock kickoff on ESPNU. And our remaining minutes with you, Curt, we thank you for coming on. You mentioned one local player from the 757 in Taurus, TJ Jones, who hails from Norcom High in Portsmouth. Another one that's a big component on the offensive side of the ball is George Pettaway, the UNC transfer from Nansman Suffolk Academy. How crucial is the run game? We know about, big time football matchups, playoff time, running the ball, stopping the run. Old Dominion's a smidge better, it looks like, defensively defending the run than it is the pass. How much will the run game, especially in short yardage situations with Pettaway and whoever's back there, be a key determining factor in this game today in your eyes?
Well, I think, that's an area that's been hit a little bit by injuries. Pettaway is certainly the number one back that the Dukes have to their disposal. Tyler Purdy, who was another transfer from Holy Cross, was really giving the Dukes a good short down runner, but he got hurt. He's out for the rest of the year. And that's an area. Pettaway has been good the last several weeks, but it has been it hasn't been a dominant component of the game. I mean, you're not going to see him. I don't think he's going to necessarily break loose and run for a huge chunk during the day, 150, 170 yards. No, he could be close to 100 yards per contest, and that seems to be where the upward trend is working for him right now. He's getting that groove going a little bit more. But the other aspect of that is because of the other injuries, he's getting to handle the football a little bit more. So he's kind of taking some of those yardages, some of that yardage away. I would like to see the running game become a little bit more dependable, a little bit more aspect to establish that game, and that, in a sense, would give Alonzo Barnett the chance to really get into a comfort and a groove and a rhythm within the course of the game. So to me, that running game does have enough juice to it to do that. I'd like to see it a little bit more. I mean, I'd like to see it go from juice to, I don't know, something a little bit more explosive, I guess, all in all. So a smoothie maybe, but it's an area that I think it has made some progress over the last several weeks, but it could be critical in today's game, quite obviously.
And Ed, 24 takeaways for the Dukes compared to 15 for the Monarchs. So that turnover margin, which you always talk about here on the program, these close games could certainly settle things.
Yeah, that's been an area that's been very good week in and week out. I mean, obviously, you can have one big game and turn that number really high. The North Carolina game helped to set the tone, I think, from that standpoint, getting a number of takeaways in that ball game, and they're getting 2 to 3, each week, and that's been a big difference. And I mentioned about Alonzo Barnett too. He's only thrown 2 interceptions. The last one that he threw was really not a wise decision. He just kind of threw it up for grabs in a pressured situation. The other came real early in the year. So even though he's still young, he's made some pretty good decisions and not thrown it to the opponent very often. So that's been crucial for JMU too.
Curt, in the past, we've known Old Dominion and JMU, especially under some of those former coaches they have, really good special team play and where they get a lot of their turnover. Assess JMU on the special teams.
Well, that is an interesting area. We talk about the interception situation with James Madison, and the reason I bring that up is because their top Spence is their top defender from an interception standpoint. He's got 5 on the year. He also has a very unique capability of coming off the edge and blocking punts and blocking kicks. So that gives JMU a little bit of a plus at any particular time that he can come off that edge and do that. Terrence Spence, another transfer to James Madison this past year. So see, Coach Young, that transfer portal has played a bit of a role here with the Dukes this year. So he's kind of key. And a transfer from Connecticut is your field goal kicker, Noah Ruelas. Ruelas has, I think, an NFL leg. He has one of the strongest legs I've seen, accuracy as well. But he missed the Coastal Carolina Thursday night game and 2 games after that. So he didn't show back up on the playing field until last week. So I'm not sure just if he's got his full 100% leg or not. He is very accurate. He does have the distance. And so that expands the field a little bit from that portion of, special teams play. And then you have Ryan Hansen, the punter. This guy, I think, also is an NFL prospect. He can directional punt. He can backspin the ball. He averages about 44 yards per kick. He can drop it inside the 20. He's a do-all everything as far as a punter is concerned. A pretty big guy for his size, for a punting fella. And so I like the special teams. I think that's been one of the crucial aspects of where the success has lied in this 6-2 record right now.
Well, it should be a lot of fun today as the Monarchs play host to the Dukes of James Madison University. JMU entering this final 3 weeks of the regular season. You got 4 teams separated by a game in the Sun Belt East, and they played 2 of those 3 teams they're in contention with. Old Dominion trying to get a couple of wins to become bowl eligible yet again under Coach Ricky Ronnie. Always a pleasure. Curt Dudley, check him out online. He does great work. You can follow him on Twitter, the X at Curt Dudley. He's the voice for JMU, wearing all kinds of hats for various sports. Good to see you again and chat with you. Thanks for coming on. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, always nice to chat with you guys down in my hometown area there in the 757.
That's right. Hey, before we let you go, for those who don't know, tell people you are from the 757. Give us the roots if you can.
Yeah, so I grew up in Norfolk, was born there, and grew up actually, I'm in the very corner of Norfolk. So if I'd have gone across across the railroad tracks, I would have gone to Kempsville. If I had stayed in town stayed in locally without the busing in the 70s, I would have been a Lake Taylor Titan. I was actually a Titan in middle school, or junior high. Basically, we call it middle school up here in the valley. They call it junior high down there, and then ended up going to Booker T. So I was a Booker, swam there, swam like a rock. Played baseball for Hank Maynard. Couldn't hit a curveball, so I went into broadcasting. So that's kind of, and came up here to go to school at Bridgewater College here, which I live in the town of Bridgewater now, but due to my roots, we just had our 45th high school reunion down there, there Waterside back in early October. So, and I tell you what, there are a lot of my friends that I grew up and went to school and graduated from Booker T that are Old Dominion either fans or alums. So I hear from a lot of those folks, particularly during weeks like this, whether it's basketball or football. It's great because a lot of respect for everybody.
That's awesome. My dad and uncle live in the same house. My dad went to Booker T. Washington. My uncle went to Lake Taylor. And my dad's a JMU alum, and my uncle lives up in New York, jazz musician now. So it brings back some smiles to my face hearing some of the stories from their days in the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. So always good catching up with you, Curt. Enjoy the game today, and we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thank you very much. You guys have a great one.
All right, Curt. Thanks, Curt.
That is the one and only Curt Dudley with us here. JMU Old Dominion coming up later today. We've got some NFL picks coming your way. We'll finish up our VHSL football playoff bracket breakdown. You heard the interviews with Mark Hall and Brandon Carr, plus Andre Twine joining us as well. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Ed Young's favorite, relatively new YouTube channel. And what is that?
CoVA Sports TV, baby. This is a place to be. I don't know why anybody would be anywhere else other than maybe the Old Dominion game later on today. It's going to be great weather for the game. Exciting. And I'm hoping maybe we can I could catch a pass, an errant pass that comes in the stands.
No.
I need a football.
No.
I don't have a football.
No.
I'm gonna put it right up here on the bookcase. I need a football. Maybe we should sit in the end zone.
Let's hear from Legacy Lacrosse. We'll be back with more in a bit.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. You need John Maynard. PFP, LUTCF, EA, all those initials behind his name mean he's qualified to work on your taxes. He's an ATA, accredited tax advisor. He's an ATP, accredited tax preparer. He's a fellow at NTPI, the National Tax Practice Institute. And if all that weren't enough, he's also been voted the best of Norfolk and the best of Virginia Beach awards. John Maynard has been professionally trained in tax preparation and representation. He brings to the table over 30 years' experience in federal and state returns. He delivers personalized, one-on-one service, and he's a certified electronic filer. The IRS likes electronic filers. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service, 455-6763.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Welcome back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Hatfield and Young, not in the pool, although maybe you are in the pool. It's at the Plex, the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. There are two fellas that seldom ever agree on anything and seldom ever get along, Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back with you here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. It's CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're all over the web, Apple, Spotify, VirginiaPreps.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Twitter. If you can't find us, something's wrong with you because we're everywhere. And let's go back to our playoff breakdown as we were going through all the brackets. Took a pause to hear from Brandon Carr, Mark Hall in Region 5A, who move on. And Curt Dudley, the voice of JMU, to break down Old Dominion hosting James Madison in a key Sunbelt tilt today. Let's go back to Class 5, now Region 5B, where we have a matchup that features the Maury Commodores and the Wascally Warwick Waiters. Oh, those Wascally Warwick Waiters. They beat Granby 35-7, no problem for Saeed Williams and company as they get it done. They've responded from that loss that they had, and they sat around a while after that loss to Phoebus. They had that game right there in their grasp. Now comes a major opportunity for them to deliver a big win and shockwave across the state against the Maury Commodores, who got on the board with a couple of touchdown runs from Tayshawn Branch, a couple of touchdown passes from Autori Newkirk, who ran in a score, and the Maury defense was locked down against Woodside 57-0. As they won with ease in their matchup with the Woodside Wolverines. Nansemond River, a 14-6 victor, escaping Bethel, and they were able to contain Amari Pryor. He didn't find the end zone multiple times, which is always a good job for a defense to do that with how good he's been playing. The reigning Chicho's Pizza 757 Football Player of the Week. And you have the Kings Fork Bulldogs. Talk about defense. They shut out Menchville. Common thread for me, Ed, is you can talk about all the high-powered offenses. Defense wins championships, and these 4 defenses that are left are playing at a very high level.
That's my first point. 13 points by the 4 teams that lost total, and one of those teams being Granby. And Bethel's
got
not
shut out last week by Maury, who got shut out last week. So look at that too. Yeah.
Right. And Woodside and Menchville, 500 teams, but I'm going to say above average 500 teams. Now, what does that put us at? It puts them 4 strong, what you call powerhouse teams out here. I'm still going to say it until somebody beats them. It's Maury's championship, and I'm talking about the big final trophy until somebody beats them. And Warwick, as good a chance as anybody else now or even later to do it. They have weapons, but Maury's got so many. Nez River, Kings Fork is interesting. It's Suffolk. It's the 2 Suffolk rivals. The last time they played, high scoring, close game.
Mm-hmm.
I really wouldn't know. At first, I'm thinking Kings Fork's a little bit stronger. We still, even though that has not been an issue, Nez River's running on, if I'm not mistaken, backup quarterback right now.
They are. Tavon Douglas has stepped in for Tyrell Grant. If they don't have him, this game might not be as tight if they don't stay in it early. Yeah.
Right. And Trayvon used to be in my class. Tremendous kid. Great athlete. Tremendous athlete. But I look at him more as that receiver type than run there handling the ball.
Right, yeah. Douglas, yep.
He's got hands. That's where he's at now. That could be in this game a big difference. I don't know. Alonzo Ricks might have something different. Maybe the youngster is coming back this week. We don't know yet. He wasn't able to confirm it before as to whether or not he'll be available. We don't know. But this is going to be a game. It'll be a sellout. If you're not there early, forget it.
Yes.
It rivals any rivalry in the 7-5-7. And these are 4 extremely good teams that I almost want to say if you take them and throw them elsewhere in other
make people mad. Go ahead. Make people mad because, I did it in basketball and I got threatened to be punched in the nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would the teams that lose, would the team make Brandon Williams, Brandon Carr, Mark Hall, and Andre Twine match you? If they were in 5A, could the runner-ups and semifinalists win Region 5A? Yes or no? Answer the question.
The runner-up in this one would Region 5A would win.
Asking, could they? I'm not saying they would. So anybody out there just watching it that want to punch people in the nose.
Now, see, you want everybody to throw the jabs at me.
Yes, I want them to punch you, pow, right in the kisser. Pow, right in the kisser. Pow.
Remember this, though. Remember now.
I'm ready. You got the boxing glove. All right, Mr. Tyson. All right, Mr. Tyson, you ready? Just don't do what Mike Tyson did before the fight last night. Did you see that? Oh, my gosh.
Some things is sometimes not always good to bear all. And I heard somebody,
we were bear witnesses. Go ahead.
Yeah, and somebody in the background I heard said jackpot. So, but anyways, I you know what? We'll talk about that later.
Okay, well then answer this for me, since you want to dodge questions like you are, duck and dodge and weave as you're a boxer over there. Will there be 13?
I drive a Dodge, so therefore I can be one. But I think Maury.
I didn't know that. Go ahead.
Maury in this situation, but I'm really anxious to see what Warwick could do.
Listen, their defensive line with Christian Corbin and those boys up front, if they can break down Maury's protection, Maury's offensive line, there has not been a vulnerability in a big game yet. If they can break that down and not give Newkirk time to sit back and pick them apart and throw, that's where the game could be different this time around. Do I think that will happen? Not necessarily, but if you're looking for an edge or something that Warwick can get its hopes up for, and they played Phoebus close in a physical game, that might be the area they could try to exploit against Maury, because if it comes down to them covering those receivers, I'm not sure there's a defense in the state that can cover their passing game wide open the way they can spread you out with all the different playmakers they have, like LeBron Bond, who's going to Indiana to play for Curt Signetti, and Javon Wiggins and Damon McDaniel Jr. and Elijah Moss, and their 5th and 6th best receivers are better than most people's 1st and 2nd best receivers. So will there be 13 points combined by the 2 losers? You said 13 by the 4 losers. Yeah, what about that? Will there be 13?
I'm going to say they're definitely the 2 losing teams will definitely combine have over 13. I got to believe that, but
I'm not sure it'll be over 20 though. I'm not sure it'll be over 20. Those defenses are good.
Yeah, right. It could be. I mean, Maury's averaging almost 65 points a game this year.
The updated number is they're now averaging 58.1.
58. I mean, that's amazing in football. So But these are two really, really good games. And I'm not taking anything from any other district. There's a lot of really, really good games. But right here, knowing these teams like I do, these are two tremendous games.
And Warwick's defense has given up just 5.6 points per game, which was skewed even more by the 27 Phoebus put up. 2 of those touchdowns coming late in the fourth quarter when they were trailing after they got that fourth down conversion. Let's go down to Region 5C, where William Fleming, the Colonels, led by Syracuse commit Malachi Coleman at running back, take down Tom Hall's Prince George Royals. They'll get the Louisa Lions. I called it. You took Midlothian. Bad job by you. 34-23. Savion Hyder, Dajier Carter, and Will Patrick's crew go on the road to Fleming, who got the one blemish that happened late in the regular season against Stanton River. Matoka had the one blemish late in the season in a head-spinning game with Dinwiddie. Up at Dinwiddie, they respond by doubling up P.H. Roanoke. L.C. Bird takes down Hermitage. That Matoka-Bird game is a fascinating one. That Bird-Hermitage game was a good quarterfinal. That Matoka-Bird game could be a war, although maybe Matoka's receivers can give them the edge here with Dylan Newton-Short, Bryce Yates, who's become the quarterback, by the way, and what they have in the pass game, Montino Williams. What's your feel on this? Is it Fleming, Matoka, or will one of those two lower seeds surprise you, be it Louisa or Bird? They're live lower seeds. They can get it done.
By the way, I did lose the Midlothian-Louisa game, and I think that's only my second loss, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if it's your
so
second.
far in the picks.
I don't know if it's your second.
That's not bad.
But you got more coming. Don't worry. You got more coming. Go ahead.
Well, I'm talking about what we looked at so far now. Come on, let's not.
More coming. Yeah.
You can't live in the future if you don't understand the present, and your past will screw you up. So understand. Got to learn you every day. I got to learn you.
Yeah, you got to learn.
Fleming, this is one of those regions where I think, and the William Fleming fans, I don't think they're listening. Your number one is good, but not automatically get to the final line. Matoka is the team my eyes are looking at the most on here.
Okay.
And by the way, I'll say this because nobody from this district is listening. What we just said on the district region prior to this, those two teams that will lose this next week, either one of them could win this region easy. So
we mean 5C or 5A? What are you talking about?
5C. The region we just saw in 5. What was it? B? Region
5B,
B?
yes. B as in boy. C
The
as
two
in cat.
losers this weekend could win this region.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say the two losers, if you're projecting Fleming and Matoka to win, and Bird and Louisa could go win 5A or something, but I misunderstood you again. But yeah, okay.
Right, and that's okay.
Not the first, won't be the last time. Yeah, I know.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So you're saying if whoever loses Warwick, Maury, and Nansman Kings Fork could be the Region 5C champion. I don't dispute that. I'm not sure you're correct on that one. I think you might be selling short the finalists, and I think you're selling short the quality of this region. But yeah, if your point is 5B's Final Four are top 10 worthy, top 8 worthy in the state, I'm not going to, vehemently fight you off on that. Let's go to 5. Go ahead.
But like I'm saying, though, let's just those are maybes.
Give me a pick. I'm going Matoka. Who's your pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean. I don't hate to follow you all the time, but I'm gonna go with Matoka on this too. And
I'm not a leader. You're a follower.
But this would be the region where either the 5 or the 3, one of them, can win this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's very possible. Let's go to 5D, where Ed Young was way wrong. He took Independence, ladies and gents, to beat Massaponax 40-6. And the Massaponax Panthers, who had 26 playoff victories under coach Eric Ludden, who retired, his son Shane took over. They beat Independence 35-12 in the opener, and they said, aha, Ed Young, I know we've given up 40-plus points on 6 occasions this year and struggled on defense, but we're going to do it again. And they did it again, 21-20. I did take Independence, too, so I don't want to just blame Ed for this. Stonebridge, however, avenged its regular season loss to the Lightning of Lightridge and grounded them as they will take on Riverbend now. Briar Woods gets Massaponax. How about that? Massaponax 2-9, and they're in the region semis, and the 2 wins were over the same team in Independence. Ouch.
Well, there's a great example of matchups. I mean, when you look at this, how's a 1-8 team going to knock off a team that has a much better record? Yeah. Well, the only thing is, Gene Jones is telling me
Fleming. He's disagreeing with you on Matoka and me. He's going Fleming all the way. Colonels. Hey, it could be a Colonels Commodores state championship at JMU. That's a possibility now. That could happen.
Yeah, and Gene Jones knows about Maury. I mean, being in an Eastern District coach at Granby for many years, and I think a principalship over there in one of the schools. So Gene knows.
Is Stonebridge dangerous enough to win this? Yes or no?
Who?
Is Stonebridge dangerous enough to win this? Yes or no?
Yeah, but I don't think they will. I think it's.
You
I
think
think
JoJo
Riverbend-
Thomas and the Bears have too much? JoJo and the Bears?
Yeah, I think. But now, here it is, playoff time, and how many years have we seen a 3-7 record behind Stonebridge? Never. So
Stonebridge,
who
by the way,
knows?
66 playoff wins. Now, 65 of them were amassed by Mickey Thompson. This is the first for Kedrick Golson, the former Washington NFL defensive lineman. His son's on the team, by the way, junior. And these guys know how to win the playoffs. They were one of 2 teams to avenge a regular season loss and beat that team in the playoffs. The other one was Laura Botetourt, who we'll get to in Region 3D coming up.
Yeah, I would say look at Riverbend in this, and probably I got to go Briarwoods in the other one.
I don't think Maury Fleming's a toss-up. Sorry, Gene. I think we know who.
Nah, Gene, you need to read up a little bit more on Maury.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a toss-up. Maybe for him being his Norfolk roots and his Fleming roots, but in terms of his rooting interest, I don't know about the outcome. But I'm going to go Briarwoods. They've burned me before. Mike Burnett's a great coach. They've had some injuries with Brady Carmichael, Trey Dudley, who's going to JMU, by the way, and that crew. But I'm gonna restore my faith in Briarwoods, and they might get Stonebridge. You said no on Stonebridge. I think Stonebridge could get Riverbend. I think it's going to be Briarwoods Stonebridge, which would set up a fascinating matchup because Briarwoods has never beaten Stonebridge, and if they can get there for the state champion or for the state semifinals, it would be a big deal.
That's going to be interesting.
Let's move it.
Riverbend.
Let's move it to Region 4A, where Churchland took down War Hill 35-15. No problem there. Phoebus Phantoms 10-0 will get them in the semifinal round. Hampton and Smithfield are set to square off after the Crabbers took care of business against the Denby Patriots by a count of 45-8. Our man Jim McGrath was on the scene for that one, and Hampton was able to get it done thanks to 203 yards rushing, 135 yards passing. That balance led by Marcus Chapman at quarterback. And defensive tackle Chris McCrite got his first interception, I think, of the year. Devin Anthony had a 2-yard touchdown run late. They outgained again Denby 338-118. This was all Hampton. Hampton Smithfield, what do you think? Do Keith's Packers get it done? And by the way, have we gotten word yet which game's going to be Friday, which game's going to be Saturday? Because Darling Stadium is the same host site, and they can't play both games on Friday night.
That'll be interesting. I wonder.
One will
probably both go Saturday, just maybe an hour or two apart.
One's going to play Friday, one's going to play Saturday. You're wrong. That ain't going to happen. Somebody out there watching, one of the Hampton officials out there, if our man Richard Fortune's watching or someone knows Richard, let us know which is on Friday, which is on Saturday. Or one of the coaches out there, let us know which is on Friday, which is on Saturday. We'd love to know, plan ahead.
Well, let's we do know this. Phoebus awful doggone good. We would say in the class with Amori. So I'm looking at Phoebus moving on, no matter who they play in this, knocking off Churchland in either Smithfield or Hampton. Now that game could be interesting. We got Smithfield in this meeting here now. Traditionally in the past, Hampton, this was an automatically on the schedule type thing. And
you hate to be against your boy Tracy Parker in Smithfield. Yeah. You don't want to do it.
Yeah, you know, and my heart is with Tracy.
Can Kenny A. Martin, the Bay Rivers leading rusher, go wild on the Hampton defense? That's the game to me. Him running the ball against the Hampton defense, can he do it? And can Smithfield's defense contain the dual threat abilities of? Oh yeah, you're right. What am I talking about? The game can't be at both because Hampton's the higher seed. Good point, Melvin Jr. Gaither. What am I talking about? I'm totally lost here. Thank you for catching that. Smithfield is hosting, so one's going to be on Friday at Darling. That's Phoebus. Hampton's going to go to Smithfield. Smithfield hosts this game, and you know what? Being at home, that could be the edge. I know they lost that 4 overtime game to Pocosin, but that could be the edge here, being at home. Yeah, what was I thinking? For some reason, I'm thinking the game's at Hampton. Yeah, good catch, Melvin. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's why we keep the fans out there to keep me straight, because Ed Young sure can't do it.
Well, I go with the flow with you sometimes. Your brainwave sometimes just messes everything else up in the room. That game at Smithfield, that'll be everybody in Smithfield will be there. That'll be packed, and Hampton will bring a crowd too. So that's going to be a dynamite atmosphere.
Are you going to go? Are you going to go?
A buddy of mine, good friends with Tracy also, he tells me we should go see a game. Well, that probably be the one we need to see.
Well, go see it. Go see it. Dinwiddie, King George semifinal matchup. Huguenot, Verona. Remember, King George last year outlasted Dinwiddie. They've had some hellacious battles, but I think Dinwiddie has too much behind Harry Dalton. Although King George can move the ball and score on them, Huguenot, Verona. Is there a better second round matchup than that one. Charles King Jr. out there representing the Louisa Lions. He thinks they can make a run here as he chimes in on Facebook. But Huguenot Verona, who do you have in that game, Ed? Because you talk about two teams that can put points up on the board, but you also have a Verona defensive front that's really good. I liked Huguenot for the longest to win this region. I switched to Dinwiddie last week, and Verona, ever since that loss to Indian River, I think people wrote them off. They had a big lead, lost it in double overtime. No shame in that. But tell you what, Verona in their building, that is a great second round game. Let me ask
you this. I'm looking at these teams. My first thought, and it might be the first one I've said at any of these, could any of these win this? Could King George? That's the one I don't know hardly anything about.
I don't think so. Not this year. Last year with the receivers, they had Mekhi White and Chance Wiggins. I would say absolutely, because they did win the region and had a lead in the second half on Phoebus in the state semis. In the fourth quarter, it got away. Phoebus pulled it out. Another, comeback that they're known for now these days in rally. But I don't think that this King George defense is built well enough to hold serve. They have some parts though. And Vern Lunsford, they do a great job. Charles Johnson, a big weapon for them. But I don't think they have enough on defense.
Well, we can knock it down to 3 of these 4 teams.
I'll go a step further. This might be the first region where I say you have 3 legitimate, serious state title contenders. 3 teams that I can make a strong case win the state championship. Yeah, I know Phoebus is the favorite. But any of those 3 top seeds, Dinwiddie, Verona, Huguenot, could win the Class 4 title at Liberty.
Well, and I would say any of those 3 could be Phoebus's opponent, depending on how the matchups are.
Well, remember, a cross bracket. A plays D, I think it is. B plays C. Let me see if I got that right here. A is going to play D in the state semis, and B is going to play C. So we'll get to C and D here in a moment. So they would be Phoebus's opponent if you projected ahead to the state finals in Lynchburg.
Yeah,
so go on a limb. Who's Phoebus's opponent in the state championship right here on November 16th? You have the right to reserve to change your mind, but right today, who's your projection for them? I'm going to say Dinwiddie, but it would not stun me if it's Huguenot or Verona.
Yeah, I was kind of leaning towards that, but my eyes keep looking at Verona because of what they've done in the past. Their only loss was to Highland Springs, wasn't it?
No. They beat Highland Springs. They lost to Indian River in double overtime. You were paying attention, but you tend to drift off in class, so we give you that.
I tend to drift on that one. That Verona Highland Springs is always a battle.
Some issues plagued the Springers in that game, but go ahead.
Yeah, I would say I would lean towards Dinwiddie, but I'll say more after these 2 games are done.
Well, that's obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, let me see what Dinwiddie does with King George. I'd keep thinking, can King George pull? Would it be considered an unbelievable upset?
This year, yes. Last year, no, because they were the higher seed and probably the slight favorite in that game. But this year, I would say it's a big surprise if they do, yes.
Okay.
Again, they gave up defense. They go back to, I know it's the 7-5-7 opponent. They lost their opener, and they turned around and played at Darling against Hampton, and they held on after having a 28-point lead, almost evaporate, 41-33 against Hampton. So if you look at the way Dinwiddie can score points coming back from 19 down against Matoka, they could have a lead in this game. I just don't know if they can protect it in the fourth quarter at Dinwiddie, which last week they just showed Harry Dalton and that offense gets revved up. Look out. So let's go to 4C, Edward. John Champ gets Woodgrove, who edged Loudoun Valley, and Loudoun County takes out Heritage Leesburg, so they get the Huskies of Tuscarora. Tusky. And by the way, in terms of the picks, you, sir, decided to go with Loudoun Valley. I had Woodgrove. So, nina boo-boo.
I lost my third one. You know why? Because I was that proverbial Loudoun Valley, Loudoun County matchup.
Oh, you got confused? Okay.
No, it's always, I want to see who can be louder when they play each other.
That was really corny and dumb, but go ahead.
That's a page out of your pool.
Listen, I have a lot of corny, dumb moments. There's no doubt about it, but that was corny and dumb.
But I did go with Loudoun Valley in this one and Loudoun County, and eat crow on the first one. But now we go to the second round, and I say chalk all the way through to the final.
Champ Tusky, who takes it? Because last year it was Champ losing it late. Tuscarora came back 24-21. Is it a repeat, or do you think Champ will be the champ of Region 4C?
Yeah, I think Champ does it, Champ.
Yep. Gene's, I think, signing off. We appreciate him tuning in. Always encourage the comments, the likes, the shares, the feedback from all of you out there. Let's go to Region 4D now. D as in dog. I took the upset bait of GW Danville to lose to EC Glass. The Hilltoppers let me down. Come on, guys. GW Danville now gets Salem, who's been a kryptonite of theirs. You say, well, what do you mean kryptonite of theirs? Well, we'll go through the history of that in a second. Salem, though, has to escape a tough, hard-fought battle from Patsy Cline, the late Patsy Cline's alma mater, the John Hanley judges. No judging them. The only judges right now that get involved are the ones that help Hayfield get back in the playoffs. 3C Jefferson Forest take out Orange County, and Sharendo, 48-7 victor over James Wood. Not James Woods from your favorite TV show Family Guy. We heard from Stewie earlier in the show. I mentioned Salem and the history with GW Danville. Salem is 5-0 all time in the playoffs against GW from 2014 to 2021. Will it be 6-0?
I know, are going to pick Salem.
I had Danville against Glass. Why do you say that?
Yeah, because you went against them before. You want to see GW Danville lose for other reasons that we won't.
No, I have no. Listen, I like Nick Anderson and Nehemiah Cabell. I have no. There's no
nothing to do with them.
That's not true.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Come on, man. All right, let's go with. Now I have to admit, I think I lost one here. I picked Orange County in an upset, and boy, was
you
that
did.
wrong.
That was a bad upset pick. What's wrong with your upset picks?
I just
mine was pretty bad too with Glass over Danville, but
I had a feeling.
It was indigestion.
It could have been that. Salem, GW Danville, tough matchup. As you say, Salem owns them. Salem's a very good 9-2 number.
Who's winning this region? Because I think the 4 seeds are all. You talk about the 1 and 2 chalk. I think all 4 of those seeds are pretty evenly matched. I don't think there's any real discrepancy.
Again, like I was saying for the previous region, could not any one of these 4 win this region?
No, I don't think that for 4C. I think it's either Tuskegee or Champ. In this case, I can make a case for all 4.
Not Tuskegee. Who was the one that I was saying earlier?
You talking about the
one with Verona and Huguenot and
Dinwiddie. That was 4B. That was King George, Dinwiddie, Huguenot, Verona. Yeah, I think 3 of 4. I think 3 of 4 can win that region. This one, I think all 4 can. Yeah, I think all 4.
This one here, all 4 looks like they have.
I agree.
Firepower to do it. Defensively can do it. Now Salem did give up 28 points, but is that because Hanley's good?
Hanley's pretty good.
Okay, so
Rando doubled them up 28-14 to close out last week regular season. Now Jefferson Forest got smacked by Liberty Christian, but Liberty Christian can do that. They're the only private school in the VHSL, and you like to say what other people want to say. Go ahead and say it. I won't say it. What can Liberty Christian do?
We don't know why they're in there, but
they can get players. What you say? I know you're going to say it
for another time.
3A, Lafayette, a winner over Petersburg. They'll take on Colonial Heights. Hats off to Colonial Heights and Justin Keeler. The Colonials get their first ever playoff win, 35-34. Why did it happen? It was up for grabs late. Well, New Kent knew deep down that Ed Young picked them, and that was the kiss of death. Hopewell loses to Tab. We didn't see this coming. Hats off to the Tigers, 24-13. I think they called a running back. Is it White Lightning? They call him Landon Howard. He was good in this game. Hopewell banged up. And Tab 24-13 beating the Blue Devils as they knock out Hopewell early. Second year in a row that happened to Ricky Irby and company. They got beat last year, if you remember, upset by Heritage. But great job by John Byron of the Tigers. We might get him on the hash with Hatfield this week. And Norcom shuts out Heritage 28-0. Looks like a collision course, Norcom Lafayette. Now, you're not going to say all 4 can win this region. Nice stories for Colonial Heights and Tab, but do those nice stories come to a screeching halt?
No, I'm definitely not saying all 4. This is Lafayette.
My question was, do the nice stories come to a screeching halt? And then you quickly said no.
Yeah, both Colonial Heights and Tab. I mean, still have a chance to win it because I'm just talking out my mouth. But it's Lafayette, and I think Norcom definitely can get Tab. I think Tab would have a better shot at beating Norcom than Colonial Heights beating Lafayette. Lafayette's going to. That's not good. Look at the score Lafayette had against Petersburg. You're going to see it again.
You said you're talking out your mouth. Where else would you be talking out of?
Well, I can tell you some people that don't talk, that talk but not out their mouth. And we'll leave it at that.
Set you up for that one.
I'm a good person, and I don't want to say bad things.
You're a good person. That's up for debate. Maybe we'll put that in front of a judge and see what the ruling is. 3B, Thomas Jefferson.
You can put question of the day on here and watch the people say, is Ed Young a good person? And you'll see a lot of
all right, we'll do that. Is head coach Is Coach
Put that
Ed
up there,
Young
Jack.
a good person? Let us know. That's up there. We just did it. I'll even do it on mine. We'll do it on all three of them. Is he a good person? Is he a good person? Is he a good person? Let us know. I think you might be surprised who's going to turn against you.
I don't mind being out there. I mean, I've been in the public before, but
yeah, Gene, you're the only one in this corner right
yeah,
now.
see that? Gino got it.
Right,
he knows.
Let's go to 3B. Thomas Jefferson of Richmond takes on Skyline. I love the chili at Skyline, don't you? It's great chili.
Skyline is nice. Oh, especially at night.
Armstrong.
My mind was thinking about something else. I'm thinking Skyline at night in a convertible with your babe next to you.
I was thinking of Skyline chili, and you're thinking of the Skyline with a babe. Let's look at Armstrong Kettle Run, Ed. How do you break this down? Jakeed Chavis have you seen his stats? I know you did, because when I sent you the pics, I had a little mini write-up about Jakeed Chavis, who coming into last night, the Navy commit, had 1,028 yards rushing on 89 attempts, 11.6 per pop, 16 touchdowns, 20 grabs for 691 and 9 TDs. Plus, he had 289 yards kick return for 3 scores, 123 yards punt return, a pick 6, 29 total touchdowns for this young man, about 2,000 all-purpose yards. Can Kettle Run bottle him up and deny him? I mean, Kettle Run's defense played well, but they're scoring points in bunches as well. They have weaponry. Colton Quaker, the Quake Shake running the ball. Armstrong Kettle Run, baby. It's in that top 5 of best second-round matchups. You got Maury Warwick for sure. You got Huguenot Verona for sure. Armstrong Kettle Run for sure. Maybe Green Run Indian River. This is a great second-round matchup.
Yeah, I think, first of all, at the top, TJ is just rolling.
James Timmons says you're a great guy.
Good job, Jimbo. Jimbo knows his stuff. I mean, Jimbo knows his stuff. Good job, Jimbo. I owe you.
One thing y'all agree on Zach Edey, y'all love him, and I don't think he's as good as y'all think he is.
No, we don't love him. He's good.
No, y'all love Zach Edey. You both wear Zach Edey footy pajamas. Continue. Go on.
TJ wins over Skyline. Now everybody, 804, wants Armstrong TJ. That's the matchup they want.
They do, but will they get it?
That's the problem, because Kettle Run will have something more to say than Skyline will. I'm not as well versed on Kettle Run at all. Points on the board.
You didn't read our Virginia Prep's top 10 previews on Kettle Run?
I usually switch those around when you do them. I didn't put them out here this morning. I have that, but they're undefeated. Okay,
would you like a quick screenshot so you can see all that was written about them real fast? Or maybe that for another time.
You could do it real quick if we're not going to waste time on the other games.
Well, we have to do it real fast. I mean, you can just read all the stuff. It's going to be fast.
Do it real fast. Let me see it.
Okay, I got to hurry up here because I'm a little slow right now. We got to stop sharing on that screen. Don't say Lord Jesus. That's not nice. We'll do it real fast. We can take you through the Kettle Run. This is what you get, folks, when you sign up to virginiapreps.com. Oh, wait, you got to log in. Hold on a second. We got to stop the screen share because I got to log in as he puts his head in his hands. I wasn't ready for that. I was logged in on my Google Chrome, but not my Microsoft Edge. So give me a second, and we'll have it for you. Give me 1 second. We'll have it. I promise.
People don't want to believe me when I tell them this is a.
Oh, that's my fault. There we go. We're logged in now. Look at our pictures on the site. Look at that. All great stuff. So you got, look at this. They had 8 players who earned all region or all district graduate. They've got 5 district titles, 3 regional crowns. Slippery quarterback. You love that slippery quarterback. Jake Mulhorn. You got Colton Quaker. Had a knee injury, but look at his stats the last couple years. He was great. In his absence, Hayden Bell got it done. And you got some guys on defense like Jaden Booth and Carter Bernatsky. And by the way, you got Dyson Tapscott, younger brother of current Virginia Tech Hokie Jordan Tapscott. So Charlie Porterfield's bunch getting it done. And when they hold opponents to 20 points or less going into this year, they were 28-0 at us, an astounding 28-0. It's probably even better now. We got to add that stat up even more. So there you go. There's your little Kettle Run snapshot. You got you learn a little bit about Kettle Run. That's why you said all this in-depth info, comprehensive coverage.
They're legit. Very legit. You're 10-0. You're very legit.
Too legit to quit.
But they're playing Armstrong, and I think Armstrong and TJ are going to be extremely motivated. A little extra of that. We want to play each other because it puts a Richmond team even further into it, and of course they both want to do it. I want to say Armstrong. I want to say it's going to be a rematch.
Hate on Kettle Run. Hate on the Cougars.
I ain't gonna hate on them. You're 10-0, boy. Well, how much better can you be when you're 10-0? You've done everything you're supposed to do.
11-0, which they are now.
Well, up to this point. Now, Armstrong has lost one. Who did they lose?
TJ beat them a couple weeks ago, so that's their motivation. TJ's motivation is they lost in the semifinals the last 2 years, which was to Armstrong. They were missing their quarterback, Rashad Cherry, who's back now, so that's a big plus for them. We could get an all 804 matchup. It's not a bad call by you. Let's go to Region 3C because we're running out of time. We got to do NFL picks. We got to get rolling and skedaddle here. Liberty Christian Heritage of Lynchburg, Seminole District rivals. They're going to square off again. Rustburg is gone, so is Broadway. Allegheny, they're 11-0. So too is Turner Ashby. Are we giving Allegheny and Turner Ashby enough attention? Turner Ashby, you picked against them. You took the Stanton Storm, and they wanted to storm the field and send you bye-bye 48-7. How dare you disrespect and doubt Baylor and Micah Matthews.
That was the dumbest pick.
Tech baseball, football commit.
That was the dumbest pick I had.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just took a wild guess. Maybe this was their downfall. Boy, did they roll it up 48-7. And Turner Ashby, I'm going to go with you again this week only because I disrespected you last week. But both of you will not be either Allegheny or Turner Ashby. Neither one of you is going to be Liberty Christian.
Are you guaranteeing that? Are you guaranteeing that?
Guarantee.
Will you get your head shaved if Liberty Christian loses to one of them?
No, you will get your head shaved.
What are you guaranteeing it for?
Because that's what I believe. So
will you buy every player on the football team a sandwich at their?
No, I don't make that kind of money. I don't make money at all. I give money.
Well, you got to do something for making these guarantees and declarations. And will you retire? Oh wait, you already done that. My bad.
I've already done that. So
3D. Abingdon and William Byrd, the Terriers are the reigning Region 3D champs. They had to beat Stanton River in overtime the last go-round. Not this time. They handled them. How about the OT, avenging a loss for Jamie Harless and the Cavaliers of Lord Balatot from Daleville, 43-41 over Northside, who beat them 17-0 in the regular season just a couple weeks ago. We'll see Michael Harvey, though, I'm sure, in basketball come March as he's trying to get a three-peat, 3 rings on his finger to go with his teammate Cy Hardy from the hoop side for Billy Pope's Vikings in basketball. But it'll be Lord Balatot Magna Vista in the second round. I'll say it again, another great top 5 worthy championship caliber semifinal matchup, Balatot Magna Vista. But Ed, I think all 4 teams are pretty evenly in this bracket, too, for Region 3D.
My ignorance is great on these 4. I don't know that much, but I'm thinking any one of these can win this one. And you're telling me that is a good possibility.
Who's got the best defense? Would you say just off the quarterfinal game, it's Byrd? However, Byrd did lose to Balatot in a close regular season game. I think Magna Vista's got the most explosive offense. Balatot has the best line play. Abingdon may be the most slept on by me, and they're peaking now at the right time. It could appear to be at 10-1. And then Byrd's defending region champion. So I think they're all pretty equal here. But I will say this. If they got to see Liberty Christian in the state semis, I don't feel good about any of them beating LCA.
No, Liberty Christian. I still say Liberty Christian in Lafayette collision course.
I think it could be Liberty Christian and TJ. I think you're sleeping on that 3B region with TJ, Armstrong, and Kettle Run. You might have 3 legitimate state finalist level teams, like I said, with the 4B teams of Dinwiddie, Verona, Huguenot. What about 2A, Region 2A? Pecos and John Marshall, basketball season now at John Marshall after that 67-0 shellacking at the hands of the Bull Islanders. My goodness, that score surprised you, Ed? 49 for Lunenburg, 47 for Bruton, who outlast Nottoway. And we both called it. We got the upset special. You and I both had it. King William over Southampton, 24-21. Sorry, Keith. We know you love your Southampton squad, but King William can get to the region final as a 7 seed. They really can.
Yeah, they can put some points on the board. Close game there. 4-6 records, a little deceiving. They're going to give Bruton all they can handle, if not, in fact, beat them in this round, even though Bruton put up a 47 on Nottoway, but you gave up 41. Can't keep doing that and expect to win.
Region 2B, as we roll through this a little faster here. Madison County. How about the shocker of the night, Ed? The Mountaineers, the number 8 seed. They had lost 21 consecutive meetings to Clark County from 2005 to 2024. They got beat 49-35 by Clark in the regular season finale. A 4-6 takes out a 10-0. They were given up 31 points per game coming in, and they shut out the unbeaten Eagles, who had ascended to number 2 in the state on VirginiaPreps.com. It means Buckingham, who I doubted against Central Woodstock, will get to host them in the second round. Can Madison County go from beating a 10-0 to an 11-0? We shall see. And Riverheads avenged its regular season loss to the Gladiators of Stewart's Draft. Just a few weeks ago, it was Stewart's Draft pummeling Riverheads by a count of 42-14. Well, Riverhead said not this time. The Gladiators, who are used to playing in state championships, most of which have been in Class 1, played in one in Class 2 just a year ago. They slipped by. Stuart Strath and Strasburg will get to host Riverheads.
Yeah. Now, remember, this is where I have liked Buckingham all year, and you told me, no, fake news. Jim McGrath goes with Coach Twine. Yes, he did a great job.
Preps and Pilot Daily Press correspondent, the one and only. He loves him some Coach Twine. We appreciate Jim tuning in and watching the show. Go ahead.
I'm going to say right now, Buckingham wins this region.
Really?
And I think at the Riverhead Stroudsburg, that's a battle. That could be 45-44. It could be 2018. It's going to be a close game. I can't really pick who I would go there. Probably lean towards Riverhead, but I think Buckingham wins this.
Wow. I would say don't count out Riverheads. Don't count them out. Let's go to Region 2C. Glenver, 69 points against Martinsville. Bulldogs are done. They'll get Floyd County as the Buffaloes stampede. Well, they don't really stampede, but they get by Appomattox 20-15. Gretna and Radford win by identical scores. They'll now square off in a matchup in the second round. Glenver, to me, is the team to beat. Radford's the defending state champ, but it's not the same team that was dominating foes last year behind Landon Clark, who went on down to Elon. I think they're a year away from being really, really good. I like Glenver to get through here.
Yeah, I agree. Glenver, but Radford's still in it, still there. Experience means something. It'll be interesting to see, but I think that's a collision with Gretna and Radford and Glenvar.
Well, and Glenver handled them pretty good in the regular season. We have not given Gretna Radford a lot of love as a top 5 second-round matchup or one to see, but that could be your only overtime second-round game if you were to call one. We had just one in the quarterfinals with Botetourt and Northside. I wouldn't be shocked if Gretna Radford needs more than 48 minutes in regulation to decide a victor. Let's go to Region 2D as we almost wrap this thing up here with Class 1 at the end. Graham takes on Virginia High, the G-Men, better than the New York G-Men these days. Daniel Jones has got to go. Brian Dable might be out the door soon, and that football team in New York, both of them, Jets and Giants, they stinko. Give me the real G-Men of Graham High. I think they win this region. Ridgeview, good offense behind quarterback Ryan O'Quinn. Union, the great defense with the Bears, pitching a shutout of Gate City and Walker Hillman, that running back who's prolific. Ridgeview Union's a rematch. I like Union, but Union Graham is probably your region final, and I still think Graham's line of scrimmage is the difference here. That line of scrimmage means a lot for them.
Yeah, I go G-Men in this region.
Not much thoughts from Ed here as we go to Class 1. Region A, you've got Rappahannock all over King and Queen. Westmoreland dumps Northumberland. Middlesex knocks off Northampton. Didn't see that coming, nor did you. And Essex all over West Point. Did Essex find its mojo back? They only beat Westmoreland like 20-14 regular season finale. Essex has been in so many state semis and finals. They want a piece of Rappahannock again after losing to them this year, don't they? They want another crack at them, don't they?
I think that's going to happen. I picked Northumberland, so I lost that one. And yes, I did pick Northampton. I thought about Middlesex, but I stuck with Northampton. So I lost 2 in this region. Only one that I've lost 2 in. And four altogether, I think it is.
You thought you were picking your buddy Michael Stevenson. He's not coaching anymore at Northumberland. That's what you
No, and he's not a football dude either. So, but yeah, I think we're looking at Essex and Rappahannock in a final, and would not doubt Essex wins it all.
I'm with you. Sorry, Rappahannock. You got a really good running game with Madison and that team at quarterback with Kelly. Look, I think it's going to be Essex again. Sussex Central plays Alta Vista after they ousted Surrey. Buffalo Gap beats Franklin. Brunswick defeats William Campbell. Buffalo Gap, Brunswick, hard to handicap there, but Alta Vista to me is the head and shoulders, knees, and toes. It would be fascinating to see if one of those other 3 can give them a real tough game. They haven't really played a close game since the opener. They had to rally to beat Central Lunenburg, a Class 2 school, but LaDainian Stone running the ball. He's like their LaDainian Tomlinson. He's hard to handle.
Yeah, Alta Vista takes care of this. Buffalo Gap and Brunswick is a flip a coin.
All right, 1C. Bath County. Fort Chiswell took a bath. Narrows beats Perry McClure. I didn't call this one. Did you call that, Narrows? Did you have the Green Wave or did you have the Fighting Blues?
I think I put Narrows because I could spell it quicker.
No, you had the Fighting Blues. I just pulled it up. I had Perry McClure in overtime. You had 21-14.
What score did I have? Because that's a crazy score.
21-14 is what you had. Yeah.
Wow.
And Narrows got beat pretty bad by Bath County last week, so now they get another shot at Bath County. Grayson County, meanwhile, blanks Craig County and George Wythe. plays Giles. Grayson County, George Wythe, put it on the docket. Another one of those top 5, top 10 second-round matchups. It's a rematch, Edward, of a game that took place late in the regular season, and Grayson County had to hold on for dear life. Got a big lead, and George Wythe came storming back at Pendleton Field, and it was Grayson County winning 35-28. Do the Maroons exact revenge this time?
That's going to be interesting. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Wythe does get the revenge.
Ooh.
And plays Bath County in the final.
The one seeds I've disrespected, I'll put it out there in bold letters and print, and Ed can just razz me about it. I disrespected GW Danville, I disrespected Abingdon, and I've disrespected Bath County. Sorry, Jake Phillips, you've done a heck of a job. I just haven't believed in y'all three as one seeds to win your regions. I think the Grayson Wythe winner wins the region final, and we'll see if Bath County can prove me wrong. 1D, as we finish it up here and take a break to our NFL picks. Rye Cove gets Grundy. How about the golden wave of Grundy? They beat Honaker 42-8 during the season, and they take out the air raid offense behind Peyton Musick, Avery Musick. And that attack, they had a couple coaching changes during the season for Honaker, and it showed in this one. 66-30, Grundy all over them. Eastside beats Thomas Walker. And how about my man Jebediah Stewart? 4 touchdown runs for Patrick Henry Glade Spring as the Rebels oust the Holston Cavaliers, no longer hotter than a stolen car, Butch or Edward. It's going to be Eastside, PH Glade Spring, Rye Cove, Grundy. Does Rye Cove get through this unscathed, or will they get a scare from one of the other 3 teams, Eastside, Grundy, or PH Glade Spring?
Now, I lost 2 in this one. I went with Honaker and Holston, and didn't come through for me. I tell you what, though, I do like Eastside in this. I do like Eastside to win this, even knocking off a number 1 undefeated Ryan Cove. And Ryan Cove didn't show any vulnerability against Royal Retreat. So, but I'm leaning towards Eastside. Who did do you know off the top of your head who Eastside lost to in that one loss?
It was Rye Cove.
Ooh, close?
Well, to answer that question, it's a really good question by you. The boys from Coburn, the Eastside Spartans under Coach Mike Rhodes, not Mike Rhodes who coaches Penn State basketball, our good buddy who we've had on the show before. And will never come on again since on radio when he was at VCU, you gave him the Penn State job before it was out there and all the Penn State people went crazy about it. Nonetheless, back on October 11th at the Eagles Nest, not the Eagles Nest that's in Chesapeake that doesn't sponsor the show, but Rye Cove beat Eastside 40-8.
So
I took a lot of twists and turns to give you that answer, didn't I? I took a lot of twists and turns to give you that answer. I really did.
Yeah, you went all over the place. You were here, there, and every which other way. So your ADH came through.
My ADH?
Yes.
Okay. No D at the end of that, just ADH. Okay. All right. We have one more segment to put the ribbon on this edition of the program, and that will be our NFL picks for this particular Saturday, week number 11. In case you're wondering, ladies and gents, what happened last week in the NFL picks, it was not really pleasant for Edward Young and Bruce Pearl. They were 1-2. Both of them. I was 2-1. I wish I was 1-2, but it's a story from another time. Later on, we won't go into that because the investment was a bad one. We have one more segment to go. And let me tell you, folks, if my first pick does not hit in the next segment of the show, it'll be adios, Matt Hatfield. It'll be Ed Young flying solo.
I'll be on my own on this.
Or with the mummy. So this will be fascinating, riveting podcast show material to watch as we move it along. And it's something that Ed will say makes him very...
Like my skin is like you're making me uncomfortable. Like I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it'll be like James Franklin. It'll be completely uncomfortable with what we're about to dive in on. So it's all coming your way next, but we have one more final timeout. And if you want to get healthy, you want to have a good time, go to Vault Athletics and Fitness. They're one of our sponsors. Take a look.
At CHKD, Sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in a phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back for our final segment of today's program. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You see the NFL picks from week number 10. And to recap it, what transpired last week on the picks. Chicago Bears minus the 6.5. That was a dud for me. Patriots won 19-3 rather comfortably. Pittsburgh plus the 2.5. They pulled it out. Did Mike Tomlin and the Steelers against the Washington Commanders, who are now reeling 2 straight losses for them. Pittsburgh beat Washington on the road 28-27 and over 48.5 for Lions Texans. Boy, do I wish that one had not gone through. 26-23 Lions won the game on a field goal. Bills minus the 3.5 for Edward. That was a W, as the Bills won by double digits against the Colts. Can they do it again tomorrow? We sure hope so. Minnesota Vikings minus the 6.5.
We sure hope so.
Didn't translate to a W for the Vikes. Well, it translated to a W on the straight up side. Nick Senti was happy about that, but they did not cover the spread against the Jaguars, who are now minus Trevor Lawrence. Denver KC over 41.5. What was the thinking behind that pick as the Chiefs won 16-14? Had to block a field goal at the end. Ed didn't care about the field goal at the end because he needed the over. He should have taken the under. What was Edward doing there? And as for our man, Bruce Pearl. Yeah, go ahead.
Denver, I wasn't thinking. Denver's not scoring tons of points.
We're not thinking.
Maybe I was thinking Kansas City would get 45 of those.
Yep. And Bruce Pearl had Rams minus the 1.5. Or plus the 1.5. I'm not sure what it was. It was Dolphins winning 23-15, so it didn't win any either way. Giants minus 6.5 in Germany. That was yucky. Get rid of the G-men and bring the real G-men to the house. Graham High School, otherwise known as the Graham Crackers, is what Ed calls them. 20-17 Panthers in OT, and the Cardinals plus the 1.5 as my boys, Bird Gang baby, smacked them up and down the field. I'll go get the bird hat, the Bird Gang hat in a second. So the season total is now at 14-16, 14-16, 11, 18-1 for yours truly. But we're going to be upbeat. We're going to be happy about this because I feel good for the first pick, and I get to go first. Yeah, your last thought here before you put your hands up. And what do you like?
I don't have our intern did not send me the
intern will fire the intern.
Yeah, he's got to go.
The intern's got to go. Well,
he's sleeping on a job.
I guess you could do stuff on your own. You don't have to rely on an intern to.
I don't have time to do all that.
You don't have time. What are you doing? You're retired. Come on, man.
I've got other priorities that I have to take care of.
We just got OC the intern to send it to you. All right, I get to go first, so you can buy some time anyway, and you'll see Bruce's picks after my selection. So we make you have to go last here. You lost the coin flip tiebreaker. The judge ruled in favor of Hayfield and Bruce, not you. Let's go to the pick here. First one up for me. It's a big matchup in the AFC here, Edward. Where do you think I'm going for pick number 1?
Buffalo.
I am. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Here's the analysis. Harrison Butker's out for the Chiefs. That's a key piece for them. Kansas City now has won 8 straight games when trailing in the second half. If they trail in the second half of this game, I don't know that they'll pull it out. I sure hope they don't pull it out because I'm picking the Bills -2.5. They win it. I think they cover it. And I'll be honest with you, when a streak ends and the Chiefs have won how many games in a row? What is it, like 15, 14? When you win so many games in a row, and sorry, Derek Nottie of Ocean Lake's High Fame and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and not sorry, Taylor Swift, you're due to lose. And sometimes you get blown out. I think the Bills could end up winning this one. Maybe not super comfortably, but by enough to make me feel happy at the end of the day. Give me the Bills, -2.5. They generally win this regular season matchup. Playoffs is when they struggle against KC. I got Buffalo -2.5 for pick number 1. What about Brucey Boy? Mr. Pearl of Virginia Beach Mustangs fame. His picks are on the screen now. He's got Seattle +6.5 against the 49ers in San Francisco. Rice O'Roney, that San Francisco treat. Atlanta +1.5 in Denver against the rookie quarterback Bo Nix and the Broncos. Not a bad play, not a bad play. And his other pick, he's got Baltimore laying the 3 in Pittsburgh against Tomlin and the Steelers. Those are Bruce's selections for week number 11 in the league where they play for pay. You're up, Edward, with 2 picks here. And our man, Coach Malloy, who's watching on the Dan Malloy. Shout out to him, by the way. He got a win in his first game, did he not? Didn't Dan get a win? I think he did.
I don't think it was his first game, but he did get a win, I think, the second game of the year. So he's rounding those troops into the way he wants them, and he'll be getting some more wins.
We got to get him on as a guest, by the way. Give him some shine about his program.
We owe a few people some guest shots.
We do. He just said, just bet on the Cowboys to lose and you will win, LOL.
Caleb Kimbrough is still waiting.
What's that?
Caleb Kimbrough called me and said he's still waiting.
Well, that's on you. It's not on me. But Dan says just bet on the Cowboys to lose and you will win, LOL. So yeah, he's probably right about that. I might take that strategy here for one of my last 2 picks. But Ed's up now for his picks, and you got the floor for 2. You've had enough time to study the matchups now.
Give me Vikings -5.5 over the Tennessee Titans.
Really?
Who've been known to mess up my picks in the past.
Now, you do realize, sir, that Sam Darnold has been throwing a lot of interceptions, balls up for grabs lately. And I think it's probably because he's been hanging out with Carson Palmer, and they had a drink. They had a Darnold Palmer. So
that's probably why.
Yeah.
That is probably why.
Yeah. And in fact, leading interception guys in the league right now, you got Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, and Jordan Love all tied with 10. What's your second pick?
I think Bruce took one of my picks. Yeah, I took the.
Go ahead and be a copycat. Here's his picks on the screen for those that missed it earlier.
He has the Falcons. So
you can take him. Go be a copycat. Be right up your alley. You can only take one though. You can't take 2. You can't take one of mine. I can't take one of yours. So
give me Rams -4.5 over Patriots, who I thought were one of the worst teams in the league this year, but they every once in a while get a win. So
Drake May has resuscitated him, hasn't he?
Yeah, surprisingly, I didn't think this would be his year to do anything, but they brought him out there, and he's doing well. So, give me those are my 2 for right now.
Yep, you got one more at the end. I get to go now. I'm looking at the game in Nolens. Nolens, you know what's happening in Nolens, Eddie? You got the Browns and the Saints. And I think the Browns will go marching in to beat the Saints. Give me Cleveland -1.5. I know Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is not healthy anymore. He of Bethel High fame, but give me the Browns to go get it done against Nolens. All right, for the last selection, where do I turn? I'm thinking really hard about an over-under involving Sunday Night Football, the Bengals and the Chargers. But if the Chargers have a grasp of this game, they'll try to milk the clock because Harbaugh's teams are not an over team. They're more of an under team. So I probably will lay off of that for the time being. But I'm surprised neither one of you took this. I got to go with Green Bay laying the 5.5 against
That's
Chicago.
my third pick. That was I thought I could
Bears
rush that.
are a
through.
wounded, dead animal, and I'm going to Packers.
I was going to take it first, and I said, no, he won't touch it. Bruce didn't have it. I was kind of glad Bruce didn't have it. He won't get it. So now, since you took my pick, KC. Take that, Buffalo. That was the Darryl whammy.
Go on back to Portsmouth.
You're going to hear it Sunday. Go on back to Kansas City. Yep.
Yeah, that's what the Bills are going to say. You're right. They're going to say going back to Kansas City after the Bills whip that tail. Overrated, lucky Chiefs. They got rabbit's foots in their pockets. They're going to make them empty out all the rabbit's foots and say, you're out of here.
They don't even have pockets, let alone rabbit's feet.
Yeah, well, whatever. Well, what's your last pick to go with Rams minus 4.5 and Vikings
you
minus
took mine,
5?
so now I got to go back into the well here.
Go into the well. Stay in the well. Take an over-under. Take a chance. Be a risk taker.
You know
Trust
what? I'm going to do that.
I sure am. But go ahead. Take a risk.
I'm going to go over, and I'm going to involve my team, which I said I wouldn't do.
Oh, this is dangerous.
Raiders and Dolphins over 43.
The Dolphins defense played well on Monday night. It played really well.
So that game I have to root not only for my Raiders, I got to root for 44 points.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're getting it. And if Tua gets hurt, you're definitely not getting it. Gotta hope Tua stays healthy. And your Raiders cooperate with some points and some drives because they don't have Devontae Adams anymore.
Yeah. I'm going to – maybe I'm thinking back to yesteryear when those teams could both score points.
Yeah. The snake, Kenny Stabler's not walking through that door. Larry Zonka's not walking through that door. But, hey, you went with it. So the picks to recap it. Edwards got – what's that?
I'll stay with it.
Yeah, stay with it. Don't be a waffler. You're a pancake guy. You've always said it.
I'm a pancake. Yep, I am a pancake.
He loves his pancakes. To recap it for the picks, Ed's got Vikings minus 5.5 against the Titans. Rams minus the 4.5 against the Pats in New England. And Gerard Mayo, the Kickatan alum, as the coach for New England. Over 43.5 Raiders and Dolphins in Miami. Bruce has got Seahawks plus the 6.5 as we show you on the screen in San Francisco. Falcons plus 1.5 on the road in Denver. And Baltimore minus the 3 in Pittsburgh. He's taking 3 road teams. I, however, am taking a home team with the Bills laying a 2.5. The Browns laying the 1.5 in New Orleans. And the Packers laying the 5.5 in Chicago. That's going to wrap up this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We thank you all for tuning in. And we'll do it again next week. Come on out. See us. We'll be at ODU today. And have a great sports weekend. Go Bills Mafia. Go Bills Mafia. You'll be my new favorite team over the Cardinals for a day and a half if you win.
And for those people that were waiting for some college stuff that we couldn't get to, Georgia wins it. And then another rankings game, South Carolina beats Missouri. And I don't know if there's another 2 teams ranking.
Well, you got ODU JMU today.
I'm going Old Dominion. I'm going Old Dominion. And I got my upset special today. Don't ask why. Florida knocks off LSU.
Not Virginia over Notre Dame?
That's not going to happen. That's a 21-point win for Notre Dame, if not more.
If Notre Dame loses, Ed Young will officially shave his head. We'll talk to you next time right here on 757.
I wear my blue suit.
CoVA Sports. Yeah, wear your blue suit. And then you got to buy Jack Lowe one, too.
If Notre Dame loses to Virginia.
Maybe you have to buy Jack an orange suit for UVA.
If Notre Dame loses to Virginia, I will wear my blue suit on the show next week from the parking lot.
And you'll buy Jack an orange suit?
No. If Notre Dame wins, Virginia wins.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not nice. Don't do that. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one, folks.
Goodbye.